indicates to me that it's live, so I'll tell you as soon as it tells me it's live.
Perfect.
Don't make your announcement until I let everyone in. All right, it should be live right now. And I am going to let everyone who's joined the meeting publicly in, and they all should be muted when they come in.
Gene, are you
From this
recording
point
it?
on, Nathan, please admit them in as they come in. I'm admitting them all right now.
Gene?
They should all come in muted. Let me just verify that.
Okay.
They are all coming in muted, so we're fine. Mr. President, I think you could start the meeting.
Okay. Welcome to the Vineland Board of Education special meeting, July 22nd, 2020, with a 4:30 start. Roll call, please, Mr. Merkley.
Ms. Acosta,
Here.
Mrs. Cadaspati,
Present.
Mr. Fiocchi,
Here.
Mr. Holmes,
Present.
Mr. Sobrana. Mr. Sobrana, I think you're muted.
Present.
Present. Mr. Silva,
Here.
Ms. Spinelli,
Here.
Mr. Ulrich,
Present.
Mr. English.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. In compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, commonly referred to as the Sunshine Law, the Vineland Board of Education has caused 48-hour notice and posting of this meeting, of this special meeting, to be sent to the following, announcing time and place thereof, agenda, etc. The Daily Journal, SNJ Today, the Press of Atlantic City, the Clerk for the City of Vineland, and the Administrative Office Public Bulletin Board. At this time, I would ask that everyone rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Merkley, we do have a resolution for executive session this evening.
We do, Mr. President. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City of Vineland School District will convene into executive session for the following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12 for the purpose of this executive session is discussion of contract negotiations.
Okay,
Gene,
Yes.
there's also checked on the resolution was discussion with the board solicitor under the attorney-client privilege exception. That was checked off.
Yeah, any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that the confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duties as lawyer.
That will be part of the executive session, yes.
Okay, so noted.
do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta,
Yes.
Mrs. Cadaspati,
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi,
Yes.
Mr. Holmes,
Yes.
Mr. Sobrana,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli,
Yes.
Mr. Ulrich,
Yes.
Mr. English.
Yes,
That resolution passes.
thank you. At this time, we will need a motion to suspend bylaw 0164 to provide for this meeting only that the public comment on agenda items and general public comment be limited to 3 minutes for each speaker. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Acosta,
Yes.
Mrs. Cadaspati,
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi,
Yes.
Mr. Holmes,
Yes.
Mr. Sobrana,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli,
Yes.
Mr. Ulrich,
Yes.
Mr. English.
Yes,
That passes.
thank you. At this time, we were going to have public comment on agenda items or any matter. And please remember, we had just passed the resolution to have our speakers speak no longer than 3 minutes. So keep that in mind when you choose to speak. Mr. Merkley, do we have anyone that will be speaking this evening?
Well, there are quite a few people connected. I am going to request that anyone who would like to speak on your phone, please hit *9. Please be patient. There are quite a few people who are in. When you hit *9 on your phone, it will raise your hand and we will know that you would like to address the board. And I will go out to you individually. I will identify you by the last 3 digits of the phone number that you've connected with. So any member of the public right now who would like to address the board, please hit *9 on your phone and I will get to you one at a time. I see one right now. I'm going to recognize the person with the phone number that ends in 482, and they're going to be unmuted right now.
Please remember to state your name.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay, good. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Roxanne Dorenzis, and I teach at 5th grade at the Palato. And first, I wanted to say a thank you to Dr. Gruccio and her team for creating a sound and safe plan to return to school. That is what I'm speaking about. I was present on the July 16th meeting when she shared the plan, and it gave me a peace of mind because I had a lot of anxiety thinking about returning to school and the whole safety. I am well aware that we have to go back to school per what the governor says, but I still was very anxious. And I felt that the plan put safety first and education second. It's important to minimize contact, and the plan to have students attend once a week and staff to work from home the other 3 days ensures the least amount of contact time, and it also allows for proper sanitization. And I wanted to say thank you to Paul Farinaccio because you really educated me on what was happening with ventilation and proper protocol. It actually helped me for my committee, which I am a part of in Winslow Township. I know there are opinions out there that we should attend school more than what is in the current plan, but I strongly disagree because, again, minimal contact is key, and safety and health should be first, then education. I don't say this in a negative way because my heart and soul is in teaching, but I did not sign up for a career that risks my life. I'm not that brave. I'm not a police officer. I do not have the makeup to be a firefighter or a part of the military. And I'm not a part of the medical field, who, by the way, has all the proper equipment and supplies and still has health and safety issues. I'm already risking my life by coming in once or 2 days a week and to teach inside of a building. So I don't want you to create more of a risk. And I'm hoping that all of you take this into consideration and that you vote yes, because Dr. Gruccio and her team really worked hard on it. They were very informative, and I appreciate all the work that they did. I think it's a good plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm
You're good.
going to mute you now, and I'll recognize the next person. Let's see. I have to go through here and find people's hands up. I have a person, their phone number ends in 229. I'm going to unmute you now. Okay, you are unmuted, 229.
Hello, my name is April Stevenson Kender, and I am a Vineland High School North, which is now the Dennis Tanner building. And I'm hoping that you can hear me. Am I right?
We
Yes.
can.
Oh, excellent. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Dr. Gruccio and her group for so competently getting together and putting forth a plan that I think does put safety first, not just for the children, but also for the professionals that work with them. All educators, not just teachers, but also the secretaries, the nurses, the health aides, the aides that are on the bus, the aides that are going to help with lunch. So I first wanted to say that. And my second thing that I wanted to bring forth was that we have to remember that the people that are professionals who didn't serve, who didn't go to college for years, didn't want to put themselves and their family at risk. I have to say that in my own personal regard, I am the only person who works inside my family. I do have children, and I'm the head of household. I am so glad to think that my superintendent cares about me, but also my family, realizing that if I were the one who got sick, that my whole family would be, of course, adversely affected. So that is a real big thing. Another thing that I'm really glad to hear about was the idea that we're going to screen our kids for their temperature, which was really important to me. Making sure that those kids that are at risk from being around other children are not affected because those kids are going to be screened. The ones that have a temperature will not be inside the building. That is so important. Also, making sure that we have masks inside our school. Making sure that those people who come inside the building, even if they are not teachers or aides, have to make sure that they have masks on when they are present. So I have to say that if this continues and that people still think that safety belongs inside the classroom, then I feel so much more confident about going back to school. And I have to tell you, the reason that I wanted to be a teacher was to teach young people. But if those young people are at risk also, because we have to remember that high school students can be up to 18, 19, even 21 years of age, we have to remember we have to keep those young people safe as well. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak. And Dr. Gruccio, thank you for that beautiful plan where you and your group have thought about safety as a priority.
Thank you, April.
Okay, I'm going to mute you now, ma'am. That was, for instance, that was 2 minutes and 50 seconds, just for reference.
Thank you.
Mr. President, there's approximately 60 people in the meeting, so we're going to have to address a lot. Those individuals who wish to be addressed, please press *9 on your phone. And right now I have 4 people that have their hands up. I'm going to get to them one at a time. I next am going to unmute the phone number that ends in 805. 805, you are now unmuted.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Bernini, and I work in the community, and I am very concerned about my child going back to school. However, I feel that there are plans in place to keep them safe, and I do feel that my child needs to be in school more than one day a week. I see people out and about all day long. People are going back to work, and they are doing things.
Excuse
They're
me,
not
Stephanie,
staying at home.
Stephanie, can you
Yes?
please mute? I'm hearing double feedback. I don't know if you have something else
She
on.
needs
but
to turn her TV off.
Can you turn your TV off or whatever's on? Because I can't quite hear you. I'm getting double feedback.
Somebody's streaming the YouTube in the background and it's on a delay. That's what
Right.
you hear. Whoever has YouTube on, please mute it.
I'm only hearing every other word, honey.
I'm in the community. I'm back to work. I feel the kids need to be in school more than one day. I don't see what one day a week is going to do for them. Honestly, I think it's a waste of time. All the area schools are going back more than one day a week. And I feel that Vineland can make accommodations to have them back in school more than one day a week. People work. They're at Walmart. They're at the beach. There's teachers at the beach. I mean, everybody's out and about. Our kids should be in school. And one day a week isn't cutting it.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
I'm going to mute you now, Stephanie.
But
And let's see, I'm going to go to the next person with their hand up. Remember, please hit *9. I'm going to the person, their last 3 digits are 141. 141, you are now unmuted and can address the board.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, it's Tara Meyerson. I'm a teacher in the district, as you all know. I'm also a Vineland resident, and I'm also a parent. So initially, upon hearing our governor's guidelines, I just became scared, a ball of nerves for myself, for my family, for my colleagues, for my community.
And requiring staff and students to resume some type of in-person learning at this juncture makes little sense to me. COVID-19 is not contained. There's still so much unknown at this time. These are the reasons we closed our buildings in the first place. Nevertheless, we are required to go back to some type of in-person learning, and I'm not really fine with that, just like many other teachers and staff, but this is a fact. But we have to do it. We are going to be thrown into this experimental test to, quote, see what happens. But we just don't know what is going to happen no matter how we go about it. Students' emotional and social well-being is very important, and that has been one of the biggest considerations for getting them back into school, and I get it. The American Academy of Pediatricians put out an article that shed light on this fact, but don't forget, they also added to that article that kids getting back into school should only be done if it is safe to do so. There's so much risk here, and like I mentioned before, COVID-19 is not contained. There's no vaccine or treatment, and there's so much unknown about it, and a second wave is even highly probable, as our health experts reported. So I think the right way to do this is to stay as cautious as possible. And Dr. Gruccio proposed an excellent plan in which he's offering the least amount of in-person instruction required. And despite my issues with our state requirement to report at all, I know this is very reasonable, and this is a plan that would provide the least amount of exposure for our staff, students, and ultimately our community. And I strongly urge the board members to vote for this plan. A plan that would require any more than the least amount of in-person instruction would be irresponsible and dangerous at this point in time. And at this point, I'd like to just take a second to paint a little picture for you, and if you'll humor me for a second, that may have you consider that in-person instruction may not be what you really think it's going to be by a long shot. So picture a classroom, place 10 students, half of a class, 6 feet apart. There's no group activities, there's no learning centers, there's no small group instruction, and a strong encouragement to stay at your desk all day and move as little as possible. Middle high school students get the benefit of switching classes possibly, but elementary, at least 5 hours of this. What type of beneficial socialization do you expect will happen?
Ms. Myerson, you have 15 seconds if you can finish up your thought, please.
Oh, I'm wrapping it up. Students will be in a room with other people, but there's no playing, hugging, high-fiving, socially distanced playground time. And now lunchtime in the cafeteria, kids certainly can't be closer than 6 feet with their masks off, so they won't be able to be close to their friends. How about students who are emotional and upset? Who's going to console them? Not the teacher. I'll be saying, it's okay, honey, you're fine from 6 feet away. Or I could break the rules and put myself at high risk. My point is that when, students can't be in close proximity to others, it makes them feel more isolated. I hope you understand and get the picture of what I'm trying to say. And in conclusion, I know there's really no right answers. It's going to be a logistical nightmare with any in-person instruction. And we've seen that already, but the less amount of time that our students and staff are in enclosed buildings.
You're 40 seconds over. Please finish your statement.
Okay. I'm going to finish. However, if we would have all known that 5 minutes, it was going to be 3 minutes, maybe we could have prepared a little bit better, just saying. But it's going to be a logistical nightmare with any in-person instruction. So the less time we have our students and staff in enclosed buildings, with some with no windows at all, for hours at a day is best. So Dr. Gruccio's plan is ultimately the best, and I really hope you guys consider it and not vote for anything else. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you. Okay, I have, let me see here. I'm going to unmute the telephone number that ends in 912. 912, you are now unmuted. You can address the board.
Yeah, hi, my name is Veronica Perez, and I am a parent to 2 children that go to DePalatine School. I am also a medical professional. So my concern is with the children going to school 1 day a week. I think it's a huge disservice to our children to send them to school 1 day a week. I've worked through COVID. I've been at the front lines of COVID. And I truly believe that as long as we take the precautions necessary, our children and staff will be safe. I dealt with having to try to do this remote learning from home with my children, and it was a nightmare. They get distracted very easily. They're not learning when they have questions as a parent, which many parents probably deal with the same thing. You know, things are taught a lot differently than what we were taught. So it's very difficult to help our children. I don't think that they are truly learning. It's more of let's get the task done so that you can pass and move on to the next grade. And that's not really having a true education for our children. I get that everybody's concerned with the COVID, they're scared, but truly look at the numbers and look at where we're at and how much we have improved as a state. I mean, the state of New Jersey is one of the best states in the country right now. Our numbers are very low, especially in Cumberland County. So you need to look at the big picture and not just focus on being scared and worrying about me. You need to worry about you, but we also need to worry about the education of our children. If these kids do not go back to school, you're going to have a generation of kids that lack education, lack social skills. There's so much that the kids gain from going to school, and that's being taken away because of fear. We cannot allow fear to control the outcomes of the well-being of our children. You know, I get a lot of staff are scared. Maybe you can reach out to medical professionals to help educate on COVID and maybe give some ideas on, you know, making sure that you guys are following the latest guidelines as far as keeping everyone safe. I think we need to look at, you know, think outside of the box and look at other things that maybe you guys can do as an education system to be able to provide education for our children, but really thinking about it and, you know, putting fear aside and really thinking about the education of our children. You would have to agree that sending kids to school one day a week and expecting them to do remote learning from home is really not the answer for these kids. They're really not going to learn. You're really not going to get to where you need to be with these kids. And you know, I'm a medical professional. I have a bachelor's degree, so I know how important education is for these children. So to allow fear.
You have approximately 15 seconds, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so just to allow fear to overcome our thinking, I don't think is the right answer. I think maybe you can get input from other people to try to come up with a better plan than sending our kids to school one day a week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perez.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to unmute 631. 631, you're unmuted. You can address the board. Thank you. I think they muted themselves again. Let me unmute them again. 631, you're unmuted. You can address the board.
Hello, my name is Christy DeLeonardo, and I'm a resident of...
We can hear you.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
My name is DeLeonardo. Okay, so I am actually calling. I have a soon-to-be 7th grader over at Sergeant Pilla Middle School.
Excuse me, Christy,
And-
can you turn down your volume on your computer because I'm
Yes.
hearing the feedback,
Yes.
please?
7th grader over at Sergeant Pilla Middle School.
Turn down your volume on.
Okay, is that better? My apologies.
Yes.
No problem.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. And I also am in the field of workforce development for the County of Cumberland. The main item that I wanted to bring up, first of all, was I needed to applaud the administration. I think that they did the best that they could this past year. And I know that there were some lessons learned for all of us. And I am truly, truly concerned with the education that's going to be happening in September with one day a week. Statistics have proven there are children that have been in schools in other countries since April that 0.02% have been identified with having signs and have been tested positive for COVID-19. None of them were children. They were teachers. So, you know, that's one of the statistics. I think that would be really important in making that final decision. Also, is there a plan for children that have an IEP one day a week?
Christy, what happens here, we can exchange and dialogue with you. As you speak, Dr. Gruccio and the board takes notes, and then we have Dr. Gruccio look into some of those questions, but we cannot exchange back and forth dialogue, okay? Thank you.
All right, my apologies. So that's one of the questions that I would like to have answered in regards to an IEP. just for the simple fact that I have a daughter that has an IEP, and I need to make sure that she gets the proper education that she needs. I just want to wish you all a good luck for this year. And I hope that there will be consideration in 30 days after school begins, should there not be any testing positives throughout the district, that this will be revisited. And also, I would like to find out where we would be able to find the plan. I have not seen the plan. I didn't even receive an email regarding the survey. So I had heard there was a survey that went out. There was 2 questions, and I was not a part of it. My husband and I did not receive that, and I've looked all over to find out where we could find it. So I was hoping that we would be able to take a look at it. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. Just for the benefit of the people who are going to be speaking, who are on the phone, many of you may be watching it on YouTube. Can you please mute the YouTube feed, because we're getting feedback when we unmute you. The YouTube feed is about 20 seconds behind the live meeting. So for those of you who are about to speak, please mute your YouTube feed. The next person who's going to be recognized, their phone number ends in 139. 139, you are unmuted. You can address the board.
Hi, this is Megan Greenfield. I'm a teacher in the district, and I am also a Vineland resident and a parent. I'm calling to piggyback on several of the speakers from this meeting. I think, first of all, I need to thank Dr. Gruccio for having her reopening committee, and I was happy to be a part of that. And I was very happy with the plan that she would like to roll out, because it is giving us the least amount of in-person instruction. And I know that sounds awful in the educational field. I understand. Education is everything to me. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I never plan on leaving the education field. It is so important. However, we need to look at it second. Our physical health is top priority. And I don't think anybody here can argue with that point. We need to understand that, yes, this is not ideal. This is awful that we have to even think about 1 day a week, 2 days a week, whatever it may be. But we have to take it, and we have to think about the physical health of our students and of our staff. I just had heard a comment from another person about how, look at the big picture. Yeah, we are in good shape in New Jersey. However, look at Florida, okay? It was in good shape. Now it's in awful shape. Do we want to be there? No, we don't. Do we want to be guinea pigs? We are not guinea pigs. You do not perform experiments on humans. That is essentially what you are trying to do. If anyone thinks that we, it's okay to go back full time, or even, 3 or 4 days a week, it's an experiment. No one can tell you that you know what's going to happen. And other countries, okay, they're doing okay with their numbers, but still, there's that low percentage. Oh, and it was teachers. So that's okay. Teachers can get it. That's fine. That's the wrong way to look at it. And I'm sorry, but it's the wrong way to look at it. We need to look at everybody here. I am concerned for my students, of course, absolutely. I'm concerned for the staff. We can't even go and sit in a restaurant, guys, right now. How are you okay with letting us go into the building with 450 plus kids? That's what would happen with us in middle school.
Ms. Greenfield,
We
you have
can't
15 seconds if you can finish your thought.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Basically, we do not know enough about this, guys. And Dr. Gruccio was very clear saying we could revisit this within a month, and I am happy to. And it would be amazing if the numbers were great and good and everything was going in the right direction. We could add days, but right now we just can't chance it. We can't put our students' lives at risk. We can't put their families' lives at risk. We can't put our staff at risk. You guys really need to just approve this plan, and we can revisit it You know, we left in this predicament where we had to close schools because this virus that we've known nothing about was wreaking havoc. It's still wreaking havoc, guys. How are we okay with going back to school for at all? But that's a whole nother issue. The governor is requiring 1 day a week. Their numbers are still growing. We can't afford to do this right now. I know my time's up.
You're a minute over. Thank you.
I'm a minute. Oh boy. Okay. Thank you guys. I appreciate you listening, and please approve this plan.
Thank you, Megan.
Sorry to keep giving everyone reminders, but for the courtesy of everyone who wants to make comment, I'm just trying to let everyone know where they stand on their time. There's currently 4 people that have their hands up, so just so you know how many people are still left to address. I'm going to currently unmute the number 355. So the person with the phone number 355, you are unmuted. You can address the board.
Yes, my name is Keith Sharper. I actually have 2 daughters in Vineland, one in the elementary, one in the high school. I don't really agree with the plan of having the kids go back at all. I know the governor just released that they can do completely remote learning. I don't think they need to be in the school. I don't think the teachers and stuff need to be in the school. We have Zoom, we have Google Meets, we have everything else for that, where everybody can do it from home. I personally work in the medical field as an EMT. The numbers in New Jersey may be low what they're showing, but nursing homes are actually on the rise still, with cases where they're not letting people in or out. Yes, they opened up some of them, but I think it's the same thing. I think we're getting ready to have a possible another wave with everything the way it's going. I don't agree at all with sending anybody back to the schools. On the best interest. Personally, if it comes down to it, I don't want to send my kids back to school at all. They're not going to want to sit in all day wearing masks. They're not going to want to sit, not being able to talk, have fun. It was great with the remote learning. They were able to still communicate with friends, teachers, everything. I personally, if we have to agree with it, I'll go along with the 1 day, but I personally don't think they need to go back at all. But I'm not going to take up a lot of the time, but that's how I agree. So you can move on to the next one.
Thank you, Keith.
That's how I am. Okay.
Thanks.
You. Yep.
Sorry about that. Those of you who would like to address the board that have joined the meeting late, you may do so by hitting *9 on your phone. Hitting *9 will let me know that you would like to address the board. There are currently 4 people waiting, 5 people now. This is the person with the last 3 digits of 689. 689, you are unmuted. You can address the board.
Hi, my name is Erin Bullock. I'm also a teacher in the district. I teach at Pelham Middle School. My concern is a little different. I do agree with Dr. Gruccio's plan based on the fact that we have to go back at least 1 day a week. I do agree with some of the other speakers who think it's unsafe to go back, that virtual learning should continue until we have a better handle on this disease. As I said, my situation is a little different. I have a daughter who has severe Crohn's disease, and she is taking a biologic, which gives her a very, very weakened immune system. So if I go to school and teach and catch this disease, I can literally, I'm not exaggerating, kill my child by going to work every day. Okay, she can have major complications, and I don't see anything addressed for people in that situation. I have no problem teaching from home every day, but the idea of going back to work every day and knowing that every day I can come home and infect my 22-year-old child and end her life because I have to go back to school for this experiment scares the daylights out of me. And I also find it, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all, but I find it incredibly ironic that you expect teachers to go back with all these kids. We don't know any of their background. We don't know what safety precautions their families have taken, what they take, but you are all sitting there at home safe on Zoom. You are not in a boardroom all together in front of unknown, but you expect us to do that. And I think Megan mentioned that we're being treated as guinea pigs, and I feel that we are, because we do not know what is going to happen. I'm not trying to be over dramatic here about my daughter, but it is true. And it scares the daylights out of me. And I will admit, I'm crying about the idea that I'm going to have to go back and put her in this situation. And I haven't heard anything about the ability for, what was it? I think it was 37% of parents who are not comfortable with sending their child back to school. There has to be an option for online learning for parents who are not comfortable and teachers who cannot do it either. And I know that if any one of you were in the situation where you walked into work tomorrow and you knew that if you came home at the end of the day that you could do something to end your child's life, you would not go there. But you expect me to do that every single day with a happy face on. I love my job. I love my students. I think my job is incredibly rewarding and important, but it is not worth my life or my daughter's life. And I just wanted to put that out there because I don't know how many other people are in the situation, but I do not think it's been considered. I'm not saying that I am special. I'm just saying that I think special allowances should be made for people in my situation
Ma'am,
if
can you
it
finish
is
up your
applicable.
thoughts? You have about 10 seconds left. Thank you.
Okay. I do think Mrs. Gruccio's plan is very logical. I think she did the best she could under the circumstances. But I would ask that you think about an online only option for parents who are uncomfortable and for teachers who are uncomfortable. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, for those members of the public who have joined the meeting late, if you hit *9 on your phone, we'll be alerted that you would like to address the board, and I'm going in order. I currently have 6 members of the public who would like to address the board. Now it's 7. I'm going to unmute 715. 715, you are unmuted. You can address the board.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Ilona, and I'm a parent, and I have 3 children who go to school. I have to say I agree with some other previous parents who say that having school in person for one day is not enough. I'm not trying to downplay the virus, but I do think it's been blown out of proportion. I know a lot of people, not just in the States, but all over the world. And personally, I don't know anyone who has died from COVID. And I am all for, taking precautions and being safe. But one day a week is not enough. And COVID isn't going to go anywhere. As if a teacher, you don't feel comfortable going to work, I feel that, you can either be involved with the children who are also not comfortable going to school, or you can quit. No one is making you go if you don't want to go. And as a parent, my children are not learning well at home. My daughter is going to 8th grade, and she told me that the reason she did well finishing 7th grade is because she cheated for much of her schoolwork. Most of the answers are available online. And of course, kids choose the easy options if they have a choice. So, if parents don't want to send their kids to school, they should have the option to have them learn at home. But you can catch this anywhere, going to the store, having somebody come over your house. I think schools are supposed to be safe and, taking every precaution they can. But, their children, I feel like one day a week is not enough. If, there's an outbreak that's going to make children sick and children will not do well, we should close the schools. But as of now, our numbers are great. And I feel like, we have to take a step in the right direction and see and hope that it's going to, not backfire. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, for stating my opinion. Just as a parent, I feel like, there should be more consideration into having schools be open more than one day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilona.
Thank you.
Mr. Merkley, can you just make sure that everyone does state their first and last name clearly, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
The number of members of the public who wish to speak is growing. It's approximately 9, so please be patient. We will get to each one of you. Please be patient. I'm unmuting 001. 001, you're unmuted. You can address the board.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Rooney. I'm a mother of 2 girls, one in middle school and one in elementary school in the Vineland district. I'm also a registered nurse, so I have a background in healthcare. I understand it's a hard decision for anybody, but I do not agree with one day of in-class hands-on learning. I see how my daughter struggled both mentally and academically, and she's a straight A student. And I know that was last on a whim, so things will hopefully be a little bit smoother now. But is there going to be actual virtual engaging learning, or is it going to be post subjects, post work, this is what you do, and I'll pre-record something? I think we all need a better answer of like a long-term plan. This is a virus. It's not going anywhere. So how long will school be out? A year, 2 years? We don't have an answer for that. So right now we need to speak maybe with healthcare providers and see what we can do implementing for a long-term goal of keeping kids in school so they can get the education they need. I believe that teachers should be considered essential employees now, just like the person at the grocery store making $12 an hour bagging your groceries, just like the janitors in the hospital, just like the nurses, just like so many people that do have to work now indoors to back the economy and make money so they can support their family. In this area, it's very economically declined. You have a lot of parents, single parents or parents that are both working full-time jobs. You take school out, they lose their child care, and also the child's gonna, it's a disservice to their education. But people rely on school. 2 parents that work full-time that don't have any help and can't afford daycare or child care, what are they supposed to do? We need to like come up with plans of not switching classes, no cafeteria, temperature, hand washing, masks. I understand it's scary for teachers. And I understand that maybe give the parents the right to choose. If you don't want to send your kid to school, tell us and you'll stay home and you'll be on a virtual kind of learning and maybe a live learning, have the teachers do their class live. And then maybe the census will come down so much that we don't have 30 kids in a classroom. Maybe we only have 20 because people don't want to send their kids to school, and that's fine. But I believe education is an essential. So now you are an essential employee, like a lot of people now that are doing jobs
Finish
that
your
aren't
thought. You have about
education.
15 seconds. Thank you.
Sure. Maybe we can implement using other schools that are now shut down. The Landis School that is shut down, a huge building, the Road School, the high school. Seniors, I understand it'd be hard for them, but they're going to be going to college and doing virtual learning. Most colleges, they do online learning. Let's maybe use the 1011 building in the high school and have some high school students say, you have to virtual learn. We have to reorganize since this is something we've never dealt with and it's not going anywhere. And private schools, they're going back to school. They're having in-class learning. They've come up, I've listened to their plans. They come up with ways to keep the teachers safe and the students safe. It's not going anywhere, and we have to adapt. And unfortunately, being an essential employee is not always easy.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, for those members of the public that are going to be unmuted, make sure that you have your YouTube muted when you're recognized, so we do not get feedback. Also, please state your name for the record. I'm going to unmute the last 3 digits of phone number 576. 576, you are unmuted. You can address the board.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lorraine Pierce. I am a parent. I have 7 children in the district, from preschool all the way up to 8th grade. I also work, and I also have a family member who has health concerns that put them in an at-risk population. I just wanted to express that if given a chance, we will be doing remote learning. My children had a good experience with it. However, I guess my question is, and I know you can't answer questions, but something to take in consideration that I will be working for remote learning. The children who are going to be doing that, will they have to sign on at a certain time? Because I can't put that burden on my caregiver during the day. So basically, if I was to choose remote learning, I would be coming home from work and then starting work with my kids. So I guess that's just my only question and my only thing for you guys to take into consideration. Thank you, everybody, and have a good day.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. Okay, I am now going to recognize the last 3 digits, 414. 414, you can address the board.
Hi, my name is Natalie Lopez, and I wanted to address the board as both a teacher and a parent in the district. I definitely support Gruccio's plan, having the 1 day a week for the students, 2 days for the teachers. I believe it's in the best interest of the students and for the teachers as well. I'm concerned as a parent. My son has respiratory issues, and at a young age, I witnessed him experience intubation for up to 10 days, and it was extremely scary, and it's something I don't want to ever have to go through again. Going into school and seeing how bad the 6th season was, even this year without COVID, and how many students we had out. At one point, I was missing 15 students in a classroom of 34 students. And so I'm highly concerned, especially because of the fact that we're not requiring students to wear masks. It's something that we're fighting for them to wear, but it's not a requirement. We're not requiring students to have temperature checks. COVID's unpredictable. We watched close to 14,000 people die in New Jersey alone. Some people do well, some people don't do well, and it hits people of all different ages. And so I love what I do. Last year, I received Teacher of the Year. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be able to teach my students. I miss being in the classroom with them. There are certain things we can't do, but at the same time, I'm not willing to put my life at risk. I'm not willing to put my students' life at risk. And I think that Gruccio's plan is the best plan. I would actually prefer full remote learning, but I'm totally okay with supporting her plan and then easing into it as things get better. But I just think we don't have enough information. I think COVID, like I said, it's unpredictable and it's not worth risking our lives. And that's what I feel like everyone's asking us to do. And I would welcome everyone to actually go into the classroom to see what we deal with, especially at a younger age. My students are my children, they're 1st graders. And so they're touching things. They are not necessarily going to be able to wear a mask all day, and I don't want to put them at risk. I appreciate you guys listening, and I really hope you listen to the teachers who are actually going to be on the front lines every single day dealing with this situation. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you. For those members who have, or those members of the public who have joined the meeting late, you can press *9 on your phone to be recognized. When you are recognized, please state your name and please mute your YouTube video in the background if you have it playing. There's currently approximately 9 or 10 people in queue. I'm going to recognize last 3 digits, 700. 700, you can address the board.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Manya Fuller, and I am a teacher in Vineland School District. I also have a 13-year-old daughter who does not go to Vineland, but is one who would be at risk. She is extremely asthmatic, and I'm not sending her back to school. So first, I want to just thank, I'm kind of winging this, Ms. Gruccio, Dr. Gruccio, for coming up with the best plan of what I thought would be phasing us back in, not just throwing us in and seeing what happens. You know, I'm a little I guess, confused as to how much learning everybody thinks is going to be going on in a classroom when you have a large amount of adults that are going to be scared for their lives, since we are the ones supposedly that can, contract this and could possibly end up on a ventilator. As someone who's seen their father on a ventilator this past summer, and he was only on it for a week, and it was not for COVID, it was for a triple bypass that he had. He had to learn how to swallow, walk, stand up, wipe himself. Like, who wants to even chance going through this, right? There's a lot of talk about students. We can always catch students up with their academics. I love being in the classroom. I love my projects. I'm like a project, queen in my building, but I don't want to die for my job, and I don't think that there is an environment out there that is like a classroom. People keep bringing up, oh, well, we see them at Walmart. We see them on the beach. Okay, well, a classroom's not like a beach, and it's not like Walmart. All right. There's a lot of things that go on inside of a classroom that I don't think people are aware of in that close contact. We haven't addressed the PPE for the teachers, how much of it that we're getting and who is actually paying for it, and will it always be there? I'm concerned for my life. This is not something that's going to last forever, right? We should not be throwing adults and students and everyone back into a building for, an experiment, and then everybody wants to give prayers and condolences when people are dead, where this could be prevented. This should be phased in. And if we have to go back, going back 2 days for, a certain amount of time, and then if nothing, out of control happens, then phasing it up, that's the way to do it. Throwing everybody in there and then saying, oops, a couple people are dead, so sorry, let's phase it back. That's ridiculous. We
Ma'am,
see
if
what
you
this
can,
is.
if you could finish up your thoughts, you're approaching the 3-minute limit. Thank you.
So hopefully everyone will take into consideration what Dr. Garuccio has, put together. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Manya.
Thank you. As a reminder to those people who are going to speak, please state your name when you're recognized, and please have your YouTube feed in the background muted. I'm going to recognize phone number 639. 639, you can now address the board.
Okay, hi, my name is Ileana Pena.
We can hear you.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Hello.
Hi. So I want to start out with, I'm a single mother of 3. I'm also a student nurse, and I've been working through the whole pandemic and in the medical field. And I just want to say that I was not a big fan of the remote learning. It was very difficult for me as a single mother and a student. However, I got through it, and my children, I was there for them. The teachers were very helpful. They were available at like all hours of the night, even at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock with my children. I was submitting their assignments after hours as soon as I came home from work. Whenever I could, they were like amazing with my children. So I can't complain about that. I did have one child that didn't pass, but that was all on his own, like his own failure. He did that to himself, and I'm okay with that. I don't feel comfortable with my children going back to school, but I agree with the 1 day, like just testing the waters is okay with me. I do have one child who is special needs, and she's 5. I'll just give you the ages. I have a 5-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 15-year-old. My 5-year-old, she has breathing problems, not breathing problems per se, but she has sleep apnea. She sweats a lot. To have a mask on her mouth, it's gonna be impossible. And the interaction, it's gonna be impossible to have little kids social distance. They're gonna wanna touch each other. They're gonna wanna hug each other. They're gonna wanna, love each other. And to say, no, you can't touch your friend, that's gonna be so hard for a teacher to say, stay away from so-and-so. And I want to say also that I've substituted in the Vineland public schools, and that would hurt for me to even tell another student, stay away from your friend. And I just
want to say, just let's test the waters little by little and take everything slowly instead of just throwing everybody into the waters, and then you can't take back what has been done. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. For the benefit of the people I'm holding, there's still approximately 8 to 10 people who need to be recognized. So please be patient. We are going to get to each one of you. I'm now going to recognize the last 3 digits, 568. 568, you are unmuted. You can address the board, please.
Hi, my name is Crystal Mutter Eisman. I just wanted to address the board and give my opinion. Both of my children go to Vineland. One's a 6th grader, one's a 12th grader. They did extremely well with the online learning from March until the end of the year. They both are extremely well students with their grades and everything. I do have a problem with the going back to school, even for 1 day a week. If they're going to open school and it's just 1 day, I don't see the point of 1 day and putting hundreds of people at risk, even if it's 2 groups or 3 groups or whatever it's going to be. My kids are very asthmatic, have breathing problems, and I also have immune deficiencies and different things going on. So if they bring something home from school, it could put me at risk, and I'm not willing to do that. From a person's perspective of seeing someone on a ventilator, my mother was on a ventilator multiple times. To see that happening, for her to go through that, it was very painful as a family member. And the virus is going to be here for a while, whether it's for whatever reason, how we got it, political, whatever. Everybody's got their own opinion. But I don't think that anyone should be put at risk, whether it's a student, a teacher, because you don't know any background, if they're at home and whatever, whoever is all involved. Everybody's in contact with constant people. But, I don't think it's even worth going back 1 day until they find a vaccination, whether it's a couple months from now, a year from now, whatever. I'm not willing to take that chance with my children or myself. That's all I needed to say. So thank you.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you. For the benefit of the members of the public who have joined the meeting late, if you hit *9 on your phone, we'll be alerted that you would like to address the board. There are currently 6 people in queue. People, they get added, and then I guess they don't hang on long enough and they drop off. The next person to address the board is number 771. 771, you're unmuted. You can address the board.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Lou Russo. I am a teacher in the district and also a parent of school-age kids in Vineland. Regardless of the number of days that we go back, meaning teachers, we have a serious issue with childcare. So there is a deficiency in the community, really, of where we send kids that are not preschool age, but yet they're not old enough to care for themselves. So whether whether students are being educated 1 day a week or 2 days a week, we still have the majority of the week where we have to figure out what in this community and what can the school district do to help to make sure that kids of working parents, be they parents in the district or parents in the community, that they have a safe and consistent place to send their children. Also, I'm in support of Dr. Gruccio's plan as it stands, not from an educational perspective. It's not good for education. Everyone who I think experienced it knows that virtual education by itself is not good. However, what we have to do, I think, is maximize safety. The only way that we maximize safety is by keeping social distance. When we go back, if it's for 1 day a week, that would be the safest. 2 days a week increases risk. Whichever it turns out to be, though, I want the community to understand that I don't believe masks are optional, right? We will require our students to wear masks, except for those that have the medical exceptions that the CDC recognizes. We will require that kids and adults alike are screened. We will require that there is at least a 6-foot radius around every student work location. These are very difficult situations for us to make sure happen in every school classroom, but we'll be working hard to make sure that happens. And again, not an easy situation for any of you or for any of us. We'll certainly, everyone I think will pull together, we'll do the best we can. But we really do have to think about some additional childcare options. So I would like, I know you cannot engage in an answer, but I would like to hear something about what we can do to expand childcare options for all of the community's parents. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Lou.
Okay, moving on. We still have, looks like there's 7 members of the public in queue. Going to recognize 125. 125, please state your name and you can address the board.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Baruzzi. I have 3 children in the district. I'm also a teacher outside of the district, so I know what our plan is. I'm really wanting to comment, not based on how many days we should go or shouldn't go. I want to, I'm very concerned about the quality of home instruction. All 3 of my boys have been A students. I have now 5th, 7th, and 8th grader. They struggled deeply with both their father and my help. Like I said, I'm also a teacher. They struggled deeply. I know we were all thrown into it pretty quickly, but my A students became C and D students. And what I really want and hope that you focus on is education through live teaching, not them logging onto a computer to see this assignment is due tomorrow. Math lessons that are extremely hard. I'm sure a lot of parents can empathize with that. I'm not a math teacher, I'm a language arts teacher. Having live instruction, giving them the best opportunity to learn. Let's focus on that. I know you guys are beholden to what the governor is saying and you have to come. And like I said, my district, we're going 4 half days a week. And then the afternoons, it's an AB schedule. We're teaching to some students in the morning and then we're live streaming to students in the afternoon. So like I said, my major concern is that my A students can maintain that status because there is live teaching going on, not just a video here and there or an assignment that they have to pick up and then, learn on their own or have to bring it to parents after we have worked our day also. I'm hoping that it's across the board, not just in one school, you're choosing to do live streaming and then, videos in another or mimicking what was the spring. Because to me, that just doesn't work for students of all learners, visual, those kinds of people that need that instruction. So that's just my comment. And I hope that the quality of instruction becomes the #1 priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
That's a major concern too.
To repeat, those members who wish to address the board, please press *9 on your phone and you'll be recognized in order. I'm going to recognize phone number 881. 881, you are unmuted. Please state your name and you can make your comments to the board.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I have 2 children in the Vineland School District. One will be his first year in preschool. My other one will be entering 2nd grade. First and foremost, I would like to just say my kids have been in summer camp full-time 5 days a week in the Vineland area for the last 2 weeks. And the school has done a fantastic job at infection control and just handling the kids with this pandemic going on. With that being said, I believe there should be 2 categories for the kids for the school year. A would be the teachers and parents who feel they aren't comfortable sending their kids back. They should be given that option to do online learning. And that could include the teachers that are uncomfortable and they could accommodate those students. Now, with those students being home, there will be a lower census of kids going back to school. Therefore, the kids that want to go back to school and that need to go back to school,
there aren't going to be as many kids in the classroom, so they can social distance and they can have that infection control. I don't believe anyone can say that online learning was a success at the end of last year. My kids struggled tremendously, and they will struggle this year. It was simply this is the assignment, complete it. And who knows if the parents helped them? Who knows if they were cheating? Of course they were. It doesn't work. And our kids are going to be at a huge disadvantage this year if that continues. They need socialization. They need to go back to school. And if that is not an option, then Vineland School Board is giving our kids a big disservice. And that's all I have to say.
Excuse me, Nicole, can I have your last name, please?
Bonetta.
Oh, thank you.
Boneta.
Thank you.
You're
welcome. Okay, the next member of the public that I'm going to unmute, make sure you state your name when you're unmuted, is their phone number ends in 046. 046, you are unmuted. You may address the board.
Hi, everyone. This is Heather Vinnick. I'm a teacher over at the AMSA program. First of all, I want to say that I appreciate all the time both you as board members and also Dr. Gruccio's team is putting into trying to establish a plan to send us all back safely, because I know it's taking up pretty much your entire summer, but it's so important, and I do appreciate your time. I have a few quick points. First of all, to address one of the comments that was said earlier by a parent, unfortunately, I do know someone who has died of COVID, and he was 48 years old with no underlying conditions, and coincidentally, he was a principal up in West Caldwell. I'm originally from North Jersey. So that was a very unfortunate thing to see. And he was also the principal for my nieces who live in West Caldwell. And that had a huge emotional impact on them. The next point I want to make is that this is not forever. This is for now. So whatever plan is put into place, whether it's remote learning, in-school learning, hybrid model, this is for now until things get under control. I don't believe there's going to be a generation of kids that are left behind. We are good educators. The next point I want to make is that I have my bachelor's degree in public health and I have my master's degree in psychology. And I teach psychology over at AMSA. And the children's social emotional learning has already been impacted. I also have a son. He was just a graduate of the class of 2020, and he did terribly with remote learning, and he lost his whole senior year. So I understand as a parent what that's like, as well as an educator. But sending them back to school with all the things that have to be done to keep them safe, it's not going to be school as usual, school as normal, and that's also going to have a social emotional impact on them. And then my final point, to try and keep this short and sweet, is that statistics are great. I'm a science teacher. I love statistics. They're wonderful until you are the statistic. So let's say in a district our size, which is huge, one of the biggest in the state, one person, whether it be a student, a staff member, an educator, ends up with COVID and on a respirator, or ends up with COVID and God forbid passes away. Who are you willing to sacrifice? Who's going to be that statistic? Who is that one person? Because that would go along with what they're saying. The numbers are super low. So thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me out. And again, I appreciate all the work that you are all doing.
Thank you, Heather.
For those members who have joined the meeting late, because there are members of the public who continue to come into the meeting, if you need to be recognized, please press *9 on your phone, and you will be recognized in the order that you've been waiting. I'm going to unmute last three digits, 517. 517, you can now address the board. Please state your name.
My name is Sandra Arsenault. I'm actually the school nurse in Vineland High School. The reason I'm calling is because I do want the children to come back, but I have some grave concerns because we are the biggest population in the district. And there's only 2 nurses at present time, one in the north and one in me. But my major concern is making sure everybody's safe, because I also have a population of special needs kids with some medical issues that really need to be addressed. And we have, like I said, we're 1/3 of the population. Another concern that I had is I was told, like looking at the information, that the nurses are going to be the tracer. How are we going to find time to do this as a nurse, plus take temperatures? I don't know how we can do it with only just 2 nursing staff members at this point. My other concern is our offices. I know my office has got a beautiful window, I can vent it or whatever, but my question is, how are even other nurses in the district, if you have an office that's not that big, how do you bring in healthy students, such as our diabetics and those kids who required medical needs while they're in school, versus the ones that we send home sick? That is the question. And I think there was also somebody was concerned about regarding isolating these kids if they are sick. And like I said, and to the people that state there was nobody that was ill from it, the people have been ill for. I know personally myself, people have been ill. And I know just having a loved one that's 87 years old, you know what, they have the right also to survive. And even my own concern in my own personal life, I also have a husband that has, is very prone to this too as well. Like I said, and my last thing I want to say is I just want to know the policies of our PEE, who's going to get them, who's going to do what, and what is going to be the policy of sending children who are sick home. Because I know nurses, we do have that, but I know sometimes we have problems with parents who just won't pick up their children either, because I know they're working or whatever, and I totally understand that. But like I said, I totally agree that we need to go back. But like I said, I think things aren't ready. I'm not ready for sure to come back. I don't want to come back. Like I said, the kids are great, but there's a lot more duties in our nurses' offices that a lot of people don't apparently understand. And like I said, at the current time, between 2 buildings, and I think in Johnson we have close to 2,600 kids. That's 1/3 of the population of Vineland. You know what? I don't know how we're going to do this, and maybe somebody has some suggestions. Thank you, and that's all my questions for you.
Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next member of the public that will be unmuted is phone number 869. 869, you're unmuted. If you can state your name and address the board, please.
Hi, my name is Tony Perez. I have 3 children in this. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have 3 daughters in the school system. I'll be honest with you. I hear a lot of the parents, teachers, staff, either on one side of the fence or the other, and I don't know what side of the fence I'm going to fall on yet. So listening to everyone speak is helpful. I hear a few people say that the virus isn't going anywhere for a while, and they're right. Well, with that being said, I think that we need to persevere, and we need to persevere safely. We didn't get anywhere in this country without taking risks. I think we have to take calculated risks, very calculated risks. We need to have a plan that is flexible, because this is the first time that we're doing this. This is the first time that the board has come across something this drastic. So parents need to have patience and understand that whatever happens now is setting a precedence for the future and the future of our children. I think that virtual teaching, live teaching is an option, and I think that parents should have a choice with all of the reasons that they stated to be able to send their kids to school or not. And that right should be heard. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tony.
All right.
For those members of the public who may have joined late, if you hit *9 on your phone, we will recognize you in order. The next person being recognized, their phone number ends in 147. 147, you are unmuted, and now you can address the board. Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Debbie Roberts. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Steph.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
just had a couple questions. I am for sending my daughter back to school only because she is going to be going into kindergarten, and it was already a shock with her not finishing off preschool. And I do believe that they're going to lack a lot of social skills, and being though it's a whole new setting for her, I am for sending her back to school. But one question or a couple questions I have is, would school uniforms be mandatory if they're only going to be going back to school for 1 or 2 days a week? And I also like the idea of we can send them back to school throughout the week, but the parents that do choose to leave their students at home, they can listen in remotely or log in remotely and still participate in the classroom. They come up on a monitor or something, and they're still in the classroom with their kids and their teacher. And also about the logging in time, if they do remotely, will it be at a certain time, and will it be an all day logging in with the teacher? Because last year at the end of the school year, when we had to close down, teachers were logging in for maybe 10-15 minutes, and then that was it for the rest of the day for these students. And sadly, that's not enough for these kids. And the amount of work that is given for them, they need to be with their teachers every day, all day long, like they normally would be in school. And as far as reporting, if they're going to be reporting 1 or 2 days a week, will it be split like by last names, or how would it be decided who would be going back at what time? That's all I have for right now. Thank you guys for all that you guys are doing. I know this is a lot of work and it's very stressful. I think that you guys are doing an awesome job. That's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. There are currently two members of the public that are still left to be heard. If any member of the public who has joined late wishes to address the board, please press *9. The next person I'm going to unmute must be on an iPad or something. It's Miss Rodriguez. Miss Rodriguez, I'm trying to unmute you here. I don't know that I can get you unmuted for some reason. All right, I'm going to go back to you, Miss Rodriguez.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can now, yes. Go ahead, you can address the board.
Of course.
Hi, we can hear you. Can you hear us, Miss Rodriguez?
I see her name, but that's it.
Yeah, she's unmuted now. Can you hear us, Miss Rodriguez?
Yes, I'm sorry. I had perfect service until it was my time to speak. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we hear you fine, yes.
Okay. I know that Ms. Gruccio and everyone else are taking notes, so I just had a few concerns. I wanted to say everyone's experience is going to be different. Some people know someone who has died of COVID. Some people don't know anyone. My daughter has an IEP. She struggled so much when we started homeschooling. I worked from home, and it was really difficult. And I would just hope that they would put something in place for the students that need an IEP. I love the idea of the live teaching, where it would be streamed at home. The children could raise their hands the way we just did right now to ask a question. And I also had a question about the parents who work in the private sector, where they're not going to get an opportunity to stay home with their kids 4 days a week. Are they going to make some sort of accommodation with where these kids can go and still be able to learn? There's people that work in the health field that can't stay home with their kids, Tuesday through Friday or whatever it is. And I didn't know if they had any sort of plan for that. Also, I wasn't able to see Ms. Gruccio's plan. I don't know where it's at. I looked on the Vineland Public School site. I Google searched it. It's nowhere that I could find. And I was just hoping maybe they would put it on Facebook or put it on social media where it was easily accessible to us, or is it going to be emailed to us? If they could just maybe put it on social media where we could all get a hold of it and share it with the other parents. That was all.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Can I have your first name? It says Carmen on here. I just want to make sure we have that right. Oh, we lost.
Yes, Carmen.
Carmen.
It's Carmen Rodriguez.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there has been members of the public who have joined. If you wish to address the board, please star 9 on your phone and you'll be recognized in order. Currently 3 people waiting. I'm going to recognize phone number 031. 031, you are unmuted.
Hi,
Please.
my name's,
Hey, Gene.
can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, I know, some people in the town of Vineland that has the COVID, so people that say it's not in the town, it is, it's here, it's not a hoax or a joke. So we have to put special precautions in. In my opinion, I would not send my kids into school because there's too many.
Excuse me, sir, you're fading in and out.
There's too many risk involved by sending the kids into school. Even if you do like half the school at once, because you never know what the kids are dragging in or dragging back to their families from other people. So that's my, what I have to say.
Okay, thank you. The next member of the public that I'm going to unmute, their phone number ends in 481. 481, you are unmuted. You can address the board. Please state your name.
Yeah, my name is Mark Fox, and I currently have 2 students, one in the Vineland High School North and going into 10th grade, and one student who's in Pillar going into 7th grade. My biggest concern last year was with the online learning, trying to have the teachers post the work where it's supposed to be so that the parents know what has to be done. It seemed like it was a mishmash of trying to find where the assignments are. Both of my kids have IEPs, and it seems like that just went out the door. It didn't seem like there was any support from the school with the IEP students. And, you know, I understand that this is a tough time and it's a hard decision for everybody, but if the teachers are supposed to be teaching, let's say from 8 to 3:30, and they have a classroom at first period, second period, why aren't they doing Zooms then? You know, I think there was like 4 Zooms for my son and like 1 or 2 for my daughter. And some of that was mostly just check-ins, not really teaching, you know? So if you're going to do online learning, that's fine, but do online learning. Do it during the class time periods so that these students actually are involved with the class and they're getting taught by the teachers, not just being sent home paperwork to read or stuff to do. Both of my students are straight A students, and, you know, I don't push them to be straight A students. That's what they want to do. But they have to learn, and I think there needs to be instructions from the teachers and not just basically telling the teachers to just post whatever you want or whatever you guys are telling them to do. And then us trying to find out where it is on the site, where it is in Google Classroom. Well, you know, one of the teachers, I think, actually had their own website and it wasn't even on Google Classroom. So, and then Genesis was a joke because Genesis was never updated as much as the Google Classroom was. So it's just back and forth of trying to check Genesis work to see what's due on what day, to try to check on what's on Google Classroom. And I think you guys need to get you guys got 5 weeks left and you had all summer to figure this out. And I'm hoping that you guys are going to come up with a plan that actually addresses this stuff. I understand that it's hard and it's a tough decision for you guys, but this is the tough decisions that you guys chose to make as board members. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, the next member of the public that I'm going to unmute, their phone number ends in 092. 092, please state your name and you can address the board.
Hi, my name is Candace Evans. I have 4 children ranging from preschool, first and second grade in the Vineland Public Schools. The issue with remote learning for me is that the teachers didn't teach. My preschoolers definitely weren't taught. My son's first grade teacher tried, posted assignments, as well as my special needs son, who is in the ABA class for autism in Winslow School. I feel like just when you guys ushered them out of school, the special needs kids are not given any consideration. Their IEPs are definitely not able to be followed. Their therapies were left in the wind. A lot of our children do not aren't able to do virtually. Like right now, his teacher's trying virtually for end of school year, and it doesn't keep his interest. I can't keep them there. He's missing his OT, his PT, his speech. I feel like if you're going to keep the general population home, great. For remote learning, actually have the teachers teach this time. I mean, like I said, my one son, Miss Bell, who taught him for Petway, she tried. She was very responsive. Great. But I think you need to think of a plan just for special needs students. They're suffering, and I don't think, and a lot of my son's teachers don't think, the special needs kids are being given any consideration in this. So I would just ask that if you guys are considering like the one day a week, my husband doesn't even want to send my kids at all. But I feel that at least you need to address and maybe have more days a week if you're going to have the schools shut down just for our special needs kids. Because right now he's regressing and supposed to be going in first grade. I'm getting comments when on the parent Google Classroom did not participate. I cannot make my nonverbal 6-year-old sit through 15 minutes of ESY, let alone do all these assignments posted like he's a normal child. Like, just please give some consideration to the children with IEPs, because regardless of our normal kids, and maybe they can catch up because they are missing social interaction and they are missing their friends and their teachers and the experiences, it's not so easy for the kids like my son who are autistic and miss having that strict regimen or miss their teachers and the therapies and the things that were helping them advance. So I just ask that you really consider that when you guys decide what you're going to do with the students going back in September. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace.
Okay, going to recognize the person with last 3 digits, 726. 726, you are unmuted. If you can state your name and you can address the board.
Hi, this is Vanessa Rasmussen. I am the parent of 1 graduate from Vineland High School and 2 high school students currently. I'm also an AP teacher at Vineland High School South. I'm in favor of a completely virtual fall so that we can gather the resources that we need to return safely. We need a robust investment in online PD for our teachers to learn how to develop engaging lessons to serve our students as they deserve. I hear a lot of parents talking about that, and I really want to second that. That is something that we as a district should be doing now to help develop those courses. We need to develop the vision to imagine what successful education looks like and can be in this challenging time. Teachers are not willing to risk our lives to present in-person lessons when workable alternatives exist and can be developed. Classes will inevitably be interrupted due to quarantines and illness, and God forbid, death. A lively and robust online curriculum can and should be developed now to help us to ease ourselves through this time, and we can always reevaluate it as we go through. I want to second what Lou Russo said about masks in the classroom. That is absolutely a necessity for teachers and students during the teaching periods if there is an in-person instruction period. And I also want to commend Mrs. Vinnick for her comments. I agree with everything that she said. It's a serious time to be teaching, and teachers are scared. They're worried. That's not really what I would like my own children to be in front of in a classroom setting. So I'm just asking your consideration for teachers and parents and students who are scared at this time, the most successful thing that we can do is to develop a really robust online program to prepare our students. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Okay, I'm going to recognize the person with phone number 170. 170, you are unmuted. Please state your name and you may address the board.
Hi, my name is Jamie Carter, and I am a single mom, and I have 4 kids in the Vineland Public School system. I have a high school student, I have 2 children in middle school, AMSA, and I have 1 child at Winslow Elementary. So I know this is against what most people have said. I'm in complete favor of our kids going back to school. Unfortunately, I was out of work during the spring, so I was able to stay home with the kids as they participated in school, and that was very challenging. And I know we were just thrown into it, so there wasn't a lot of preparation. It sounds like we're going back into that for the fall, and my concerns that I wanted to speak of. One of my youngest does have an IEP, and it was extremely stressful. We have amazing teachers in the Vineland school system, and we've been really blessed by all of them. But the problem with the spring is they weren't teaching. We were just receiving these assignments, and I was given the task of teaching these new concepts, and I'm not a teacher at all, and especially with my son who has some special needs. It was very challenging to communicate with him and to teach those things. So I don't know if there was a rule that they couldn't do this video teaching, but that was really hard. So I don't know if that's something that we can do, that these teachers can teach these kids and not just give assignments and have them just do assignments, because there's no new content. So that's what that was my concern. I don't know if there's any consideration for the kids with IEP to come back and do some in-person learning. I don't. Again, I'm in favor of all of them, but at least for those kids that, I mean, the last 2 years of my youngest he's just done phenomenal with the amazing teachers that he's been given in school. So I'm just concerned about his education and continuing. The AMSA did fabulous with online teaching. High school was on and off depending on the teacher. So those are and then of course, if we do the one day here, one day there, I'm a little concerned about how all 4 of my kids going to be on the same schedule. Again, that's probably a logistical nightmare on your end. But it's stressful for me to even think of what that's all going to look like with working 40 hours a week. So yeah, those are some of my concerns and some of my thoughts of moving forward with the having 4 different different personalities of kids and how they learn. Again, I'm just in favor of just some more teaching through video or something that it wouldn't put it on me to teach them all these new concepts. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
We currently have 3 members of the public who still wish to address the board. For those who have come into the meeting late, please press *9 on your phone and you'll be recognized in the order of the wait. I'm currently going to recognize, I don't have the 3 digits. It's just coming up as what their phone model is. So I'm going to unmute them now, and then we will ask them to state their name.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm not sure why my information didn't come up right, but my name is Cindy Weber.
Okay, we hear you.
And I am the parent of 1 child who will be entering Vineland High School.
Excuse me, Cindy. Cindy, can you please mute your computer, please?
Uh,
I'm getting some feedback. Might be the TV.
okay, apparently I did this wrong, so I'm just gonna.
Hello?
Do you have feedback now?
We have noise.
It sounds okay now. I think you can get your comment in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you. That's okay. That's okay.
So again, for the record, my name is Cindy Weber. I am the son of, or I have a son in that will be entering Vineland High School in September. Recognizing that the virtual learning that happened last year was extremely last minute and was not planned for at all. I don't think that the staff did a bad job. Obviously, some students are going to do better in that environment than others, but with a significant amount of effort on both my part and my son's part, he managed to pull it off, and he did pretty well. That being said, I can understand that that's not the situation for everyone. I am not comfortable with sending my child to school. He has an IEP, and he has a lot of social emotional challenges that will absolutely be exacerbated by any plan you put in place. I might as well put a tent in the backyard of Vineland High because I'm going to be there every day. It's going to be stop playing with your mask. It's going to be no, you can't get up and go to the bathroom 6 times in this class. It's going to be why are you dropping your pencil 8 times in a class? Because he can't sit still. Any plan that's put in place right now, recognizing the limitations on COVID, is going to cause him immense stress, and he is going to flame out horribly. I can tell you that right now. I would much rather help him into high school at home with the district's support. I realize that's not something that every parent can do, but it should be an option for those that can. It will limit class sizes for people if they're given the district support, because honestly, I'm not prepared to homeschool my son myself as a first option. Without the district support, I suppose I'll have to. But I don't think that it would be very difficult to create an option for parents that would opt out for the year and have the district support to help their child complete school appropriately. What that looks like, whether it's live classes or whether it's taped classes, or whether you can watch it live or taped. What it looks like is up to interpretation, and how it works, it's up for changes.
Ma'am,
But
if
I
you
know that my son,
finish your thought, you're approaching your time limit.
I know that my son thrives on consistency, and going in even 1 day a week and then suddenly back out because a class member of his tested positive or he tested positive, and then back in again and then back out again, he's not going to be learning. I can do it better myself. So I sincerely hope that there is a supportive plan in place for parents, for families that are willing to opt their child out and able to opt their child out. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Okay, the list of people in the public that wish to address the board continues to grow. We're at 5 that still remain. So I'm going to recognize the person with the last 3 digits of 923. 923, you are unmuted. You may address the board. Please state your name.
Hello, this is Scott Tasso. I have 2 daughters in the Vineland School District. One is entering Wallace and one is in Durand. I just wanted to speak to the point of the 1 day a week in the school buildings. When the proposal is developed, I just want to make sure that the board considers that the PPE requirements become mandatory, not a suggestion. If we do not keep these requirements mandatory for everyone to follow while in the building, we are going to set ourselves up for failure. And that's everything.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay, I'm going to recognize the person with the last 3 digits, 651. 651, you are unmuted. You may address the board. Please state your name.
Thank you. My name is Parth Leach. I have a senior at Vineland High School with a chronic medical condition, and she does have a 504. First, I'd like to say that I understand this is a terribly difficult situation to manage. Spring was a disaster for everyone, high schools across the state, across the nation, colleges. That being said, I think the survey that was sent out was inadequate and too simplistic. There should have been options for, are you in favor of remote learning? Are you in favor of live attendance? You know, give some more detail in the questions. I think that a live Zoom or Google Meet class would be a good option. Of course, understanding that thoughtful considerations need to be given for those with IEPs, 504s, poor internet, lack of technology, and the like. I know what I'm doing when I go out of the house to go to the store. I don't know what anybody else is doing. For all I know, the person in Aldi with their mask down under their nose could be the parent of somebody sitting next to my child if she has to go back to school, and that's not okay. That is definitely not okay. And I'm in favor of remote learning, at least for the first half of the year until we see what's going on. And I know this is very, very difficult to deal with. I know that there's lots of different considerations, childcare, lack of technology, lack of internet. But I really think that virtual learning is a very good option. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, for those members of the public who may have joined the meeting late, if you hit *9 on your phone, we will address you in the order that we have been notified. I'm now going to recognize last 3 digits of phone number 193. 193, you are unmuted. Please state your name. You may address the board.
Hi, yes. My name is Nicole McBride. I have 3 children in the Vineland school system. I have one that just graduated out of Dane Barcy who has an IEP, and I have one that's actually in the AMSA program and one that's entering high school. I just want to commend the teachers. They all had Zoom learning. My son with his IEP, the teachers at Dane Barcy, his special teacher really did give him what he needed to feel comfortable doing his assignments from home. The one that struggled the most was actually my AMSA student because the work is a lot harder. So she really needed that one-on-one more in the classroom, but it was the first time ever getting learning like that. So I think I'm in favor of the remote learning with all 3 of my children. Again, with all 3 of them, and again, my one going into high school, she has all college prep and advanced courses. But I am in favor of the remote learning just because I don't know how other parents, well, I see how other parents are at the store wearing their PPE, and all the parents don't feel like it's important. So all that's going to do is pass down to the children. And then when I hear this is going to be suggested but not mandatory, for me, that's a concern. They would take bus transportation, and again, making sure there's a 6-foot social distancing. They're not allowing indoor dining, but then how are the kids going to eat in school? So then masks have to come off. So to me, whether it's 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, I would prefer not for my children to be exposed. They have not been sick through this whole pandemic. I don't even allow my children to go to the store. And again, I have 11, 13, and 14. They don't go to the store. Again, because I'm not sure what I'm going to encounter when I go to the store, and things I do, adults aren't wearing the mask over their nose. Sometimes they're not wearing a mask at all. It's underneath their chin. Employees the same way. I do agree with the prior person that called talking about the survey. The survey was very simplistic. It didn't put, would you like your child to go back to school with what were the safety guidelines? It's just like, would you rather them go back to school or not? And, to me, it should have been a little bit more, just a little bit more. My sister, she goes to the BOE district, and her survey was a little bit more detailed to find out exactly where the parents' minds are. Like I said, I do want to commend. Like I said, I thought certain schools did very well with the Zoom, and meeting my children's needs. It's unfortunate to hear that some teachers did not, try to do that little bit extra effort to make sure all the teachers learn. But again, with my son with his IEP, it was something he had trouble with. She would choose another time with the students that she would have and choose another time for him to get on to make sure he understood the assignment. So I just want to commend, like I said, Dane Barcy did well, the AMSA program did well, and Wallace.
If you can finish up your thoughts, you're running out of your time.
Yes, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Okay, I'm now going to recognize the person with the last three digits, 685. 685, you're unmuted. State your name and you may address the board.
Hi, this is Nicole Huber. I just wanted to say that I do have a child with special needs and I'm a teacher in the district. My concerns are about the safety. I have a lot of family members in the medical field, especially at Penn. Masks are not enough. Neither is taking a temperature. These are false senses of security. My friend with COVID never had a fever. Also, our eyes need to be protected. A mask is not enough. You also need a face shield. Sanitizer that we've had in the building in the past is like 40%. It's not even, it's not enough. Dividers won't work unless they're floor to ceiling. I don't know what your plan is, but I do not feel safe. Secondly, to defend our teachers, language arts teachers, the curriculum has been online for years. The children learned how to use Google Classroom since September. And then in March, the parents are saying they had problems when they had used it all of those months. My last point is I'm really concerned about behavioral issues, especially with kids teasing each other with the mask, who wears one, who doesn't, and just the whole cafeteria hallway and just the population. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huber.
The next person to address the board, their phone number ends in 525. 525, you're unmuted. Please state your name and you may address the board.
This is Carl Mason, and my daughter goes to Vineland High School. I'm glad I don't have your guys' job. Unfortunately, no matter what happens, there is no one answer to fix all these issues. Right now, you're trying to merge a COVID-19 that, for some reason, there's people on the planet that still think it doesn't exist, and it's a worldwide pandemic. And you're also trying to merge how to teach. None of us out here really are teachers. We don't know how to do what they do. But what we do know is we want our children to be able to be taught and be safe at the same time. Now, no matter what you guys decide to do, I am not sending my daughter into that building with those people, because too many people seem to believe that this isn't real. The COVID-19 thing is not real. I am one of those at-risk people. My wife is, and so is my mother-in-law. And I'm not going to put my daughter in a situation where she's got to go in and see if she'll be able to survive it. Now, whatever make you guys think that, okay, we'll just go to school one day a week. Well, what's the difference if my daughter catches it on a Monday versus a Thursday? It's not worth it. If you feel like she only needs to be at school one day a week, I think we can bypass that day. It isn't worth it to put all these people at risk. It takes one child. You're not going to control these children. I don't care how hard you try, you are not going to control them. You might control a lot of them, but you see the people out in the stores. You see everybody walking around. You see on TV. Every time there's large gatherings, all of a sudden there's a spike. And you're saying, okay, we'll have a large gathering. Well, how about just one day a week? I'm not doing it. I don't care what you guys do. I love my family. I love my kid. I'm not sending my kid in there for you guys to make a mistake and say, oh, sorry about that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Okay, the next person I'm going to recognize does not have any digits. It's their phone model, so I'm going to unmute you. I believe
Hi,
you're unmuted. You can address the board. Please state your name.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dalma Santos. I have a son with special needs. He actually has an IEP. He goes to Pilla Middle School. I want to commend the Pilla staff because I could say that I did not have a problem when my son needed a question or he needed a teacher. They were there. And I'm very proud to be Pilla proud. So he also had Zoom meetings twice for math and English. And he also even had Mars meeting, which is a club that he had after school. So, you know, there's that teacher, Miss McGinley, went above and beyond just to have that meeting, just to have a sense of normalcy. Again, my son is not going to be going back to school until I feel is safe. I feel like this is like a domino effect. My mom is a bus aide and my sister is a bus driver. I feel like it could start on the bus and then from the bus, it goes to this classroom, you know, because you could check the temperature, but like they said, the temperature is not always accurate. I also don't trust the parents to do their due diligence of, hey, my kid is sick or not feeling well. Let's, you know, stay home. And I understand that they have to go to work, but they also have to make accommodations if this child is sick. I have seen a lot of parents give them, you know, Tylenol and send them right off to school. And 4 hours later, they're trying to call and get them picked up. So there's, like I said, it's a domino effect. And I don't feel comfortable my son going and possibly getting it from somebody that seemed fine in the beginning of the day and then all of a sudden gets sick. Again, that's just my opinion. And if parents feel comfortable sending their kids, that's great. But like a lot of teachers have said, and a lot of nurses that I've heard come on here talk about statistics, I don't want to roll the dice and figure out if my son is going to end up in that 1% or the 99% of that recover. I don't want to, you know, be that parent that has to have my son out because he has COVID, you know. So that's just my concern. I'd rather stay virtually until there's money, the budget, you know, I keep hearing that there's no money in the budget for more computers for kids that are in kindergarten or things like that. So where's the budget coming from for adequate PPE for the students or the schools, the buses in regards to this? So that's just my concern. I just want everybody to be safe and the students to be safe and the staff to be safe because I know they have family to go to just like the kids have us to go to. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Delma.
Okay, the next member of the public that we're going to recognize, their phone number ends in 013. 013, you are unmuted. Please state your name. You may address the board.
Hi, my name is Susan Zazzarini, and I have 3 kids in the system. I have 2 elementary kids and 1 middle schooler, and my husband also works as a teacher in the district, and I am a teacher in a nearby district. First of all, real quickly, I want to give props to my kids' teachers at Pilla and Rossi during the remote learning last year. My kids covered multiple math chapters, read multiple novels, and teachers were very creative with the assignments that were given. My kids even had teachers doing 40-minute Zoom meetings, teaching the kids almost daily. They were rock stars. My points for the year is 1, that morning and aftercare needs to be provided for working parents to at least be able to work on the days that their kids are in school. My husband works in the district. He understands that there's a chance he's probably going to have to go back and do his time, but I am not leaving my 9-year-old twins, elementary kids, home alone in the morning while he can report to middle school on time where he works. My oldest is a middle schooler. She will not be home to watch them, and I will not have them lock up the house and walk to school by themselves. 2, uniforms need to be reconsidered. If there's a second wave and we go to all remote, which is a huge possibility, the cost of uniforms will be wasted as kids will not even be using them, and they will outgrow them likely before the next school year. Another point, regardless of how often they go back, remote work needs to be posted Monday mornings for the week, not daily, so this way parents who have to work can help their children at times that are convenient throughout the week. Lastly, as a teacher myself, while I don't really want my kids in school a lot, I also don't want to come home from my own teaching job and work for hours helping my children at night. The district needs to be practical in what assignments they expect teachers to tackle remotely, and they may want to consider doing things like adjusting assignment category weights if remote is done, and to discontinue the Link It assessments that count for the upcoming school year, because the Link It program is ridiculous. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Susan.
Mr. President, we have no further members of the public who have their hands up. We have gone through those.
Okay. I'm collecting my thoughts because I have notes everywhere. And thank you, Mr. Merkley, for pretty much crowning that all together, because I know that's not easy.
I did see one person just put their hand up.
That's fine. I want to keep it as transparent as possible, so I will
Okay.
not turn someone away.
All right, we're going to recognize the person with the phone number 842. 842, you are unmuted. You may address the board.
Hi, good evening. I just want to, the comments that some of the parents made, I just want to, my name is, I'm sorry, Andrea Ryan. I'm a preschool teacher here in Vineland. So actually this comment doesn't really affect my position so much, because we can't really do much of online teaching at the preschool level. But I do want to comment that the teachers, the work that the elementary and junior high and high school teachers must have put in had to take up so much of their time at home. For parents to say, you know, they weren't contacted or they weren't in the Zoom meetings. I saw what those teachers put out there and went through, and I was getting responses from teachers till 8 o'clock at night. So I do want to commend my children's teachers for doing that. My other, as a teacher, my other concern is the accountability of the parents. Speaking with other teachers this summer, again, school-age teachers, not preschool teachers, having to chase after parents and students to get work, and on top, do all this extra work online, things that they didn't even know how to do, or parents didn't know how to do, whatever. The technology was difficult, but it was a lot of work. I could see it was a lot of work. So I just want to make the comment that the teachers were working very hard, and my students, I have 4 students in the district, but they were at 3 different schools, and consistently I saw that. So I do want to commend them for that. But again, I think there needs to be a plan of action to address those parents whose children did not participate, and put it on the parent as opposed to the teachers not making enough effort to get in touch with the parent. But I don't have a debate for going back to school or doing remote learning. I respect the decision that's made, and there's so much anxiety about what's going to happen in September. I will tell you, the remote learning, I think, was hardest on me than anybody in our house, because I do not know, like the math that they were talking about, not familiar with it. So the only one who really suffered in my home was probably me, because I'm the designated educator, and I will be, I guess, in September, the at-home learning. But I respect the decision that you do make. I just hope it comes together quickly, so we can all scatter to make the plan we need for our children who will be at home, for the parents who do work full time. So that's all. I just wanted to address that. The parent accountability, I needs to be addressed, because it was an issue. So that is it.
Thank you, Andrew.
We do have another member of the public who has their hand up. We're going to recognize phone number 014. 014, you're unmuted. Please state your name. You may address the board.
Hi, my name is Brian Bernini. I have a daughter
going into 4th grade at Rossi School. I want to see my daughter go to school 5 days a week. I mean, I know it's mixed out there, but you took a survey, and 38% of the people are against sending their kids back to school. So that leaves 62% of the people. One day a week doesn't represent that. And I guess the teachers feel the same way. Some want to go back to school, some are all for online learning. So I don't know why, if you have 62 or you split up the teachers that want to teach in the classroom, and then you have teachers that dedicate to online learning, you can accommodate the parents that don't feel comfortable sending their kids back to school, reduce the amount of kids that are in school, and have the teachers teach them one-on-one. That's all.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Anybody else, Mr. Merkley?
At this time, there's no one with their hand up.
All right, at this time, then.
Somebody just put their hand up. 2 more just put their hand up. I guess they wait until they don't have to wait. I don't know. There's 2 people with their hand up. We'll recognize 149. 149.
Hi.
Unmuted me. Please state your name.
Hi, Marcy Rustisi, parent and former Abbott preschool aide. Sorry, I thought I had my hand up the whole time. I don't know what I did.
It's okay.
I first would like to commend you guys. You have really tough decisions to make, and I would not want to be in your shoes. I have had 3 Vineland High School graduates. I have a senior this year, as well as a 6th grade special education in an autism classroom that will be going to Pilla this year. The teachers for the remote learning have been phenomenal. My 6th grader came from Dame Barcy. I cannot say enough. Mr. Clark, Montana Jacobs, her speech therapist, have held my hand and walked me through this. I hope they get the recognition that they deserve, because your teachers are amazing. I have a unique perspective. My children lost their father 7 years ago in a car accident. And I can tell you, as a parent, putting any teacher's life in jeopardy by doing this, by making them teach 30, 40 kids in a classroom isn't worth it. I get it. My 6th grader is going to be behind if she doesn't go the full year. My senior is going to miss out on a whole lot of stuff. None of that is worth a human life. And these kids and these teachers aren't guinea pigs. It's like playing Russian roulette. You don't know who's going to get sick. I agree. Someone else said the parents. I've worked in the field. Parents pile all their kids up, drop them off. I understand they have jobs. I don't know what the answers are. But forcing these kids into school and forcing teachers who are going to have to quit if they can't go in, to my knowledge, that's what their options are. If they can't retire, they're going to have to quit their job. So, again, I am all for remote learning. You guys are amazing. Your educators are amazing. And I just cannot understand anybody that would put the value of a human life over going to school an extra day or 2. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a member of the public ending in 730. 730, you are unmuted. Please state your name. You may address the board.
My name is Tasha Rosa. I just want to say thank you for what you guys are doing. Also, my daughter, she's getting ready to go to 6th grade. Last year, she was with Winslow School, and considering the fact that they did everything last minute, everything was done so quick, I feel that they did an amazing job. My daughter did a great job with the online learning. I don't have no complaints with that. The teachers were awesome. They were always available whenever she needed help. I personally don't have a problem with the online learning. Going to school 1 day a week Again, I'm following through with everyone else. It just doesn't make sense to me to put her at risk for one day of school. Obviously, if we're only doing one day, then there's still issues that we have to deal with. And then I'm hearing they don't have to wear a mask, or they do have to wear a mask. It's still up in the air. I mean, my daughter, she's going to be in 6th grade. I can't imagine her wearing a mask for, 4 hours out of the day, just wearing a mask. So, I'm on board with the other parents. If it's going to be one day, more than likely she'll be staying home and she'll just be learning from home. So that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you. Talk to me, Mr. Merkley.
I have another one.
Just a quick question for Mr. DeSanto. We probably can go on all night with this, and I do always encourage the public comment here, but I know we had a 3-minute time limit. If we continue to get the calls, are we going to have to make a motion for to reduce it to 1 minute so that they can hit their PowerPoint? Or
yes. What happens is that the board is certainly. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. What happens is the board's entitled to limit public comment, and you have done so by time limitations. You can also limit comment when it becomes repetition or repetitious. So I think what we're seeing now is the same points being made, but from different people. And, if we're down to 1 or 2 more, then let's get it done and close it at that point. Because the board has all the information that it needs.
Thank you. Agreed.
There's a single person waiting. Shall we let this last person speak, and then you can do what you would?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to recognize last 3 digits, 864. 864, you are unmuted. You may address the board. Please state your name.
Hello, my name is Dana Speziali. I'm a 1st grade teacher at Rossi School, as well as a parent of 2 elementary age children that also attend Rossi. I just want to say thank you so much to the board and to Dr. Gruccio. I know you have a huge decision ahead of you, and hearing everyone's concerns, I keep going back and forth about what my opinion truly is, both as a teacher and a parent. But I did want to go back to what Lou Russo said about childcare. I myself am at a loss for what I'm going to do as a teacher. One of the wonderful things about being a teacher and having children is that I have the same schedule they do. When I have to be at work, when they have to be at home, I'm wondering who's going to stay home with my 9-year-old and 6-year-old. They are too young to be home alone, and let alone have to be live streaming with their teachers. Also, the other concern I have is about remote learning in any fashion. It was extremely challenging to be a teacher and a parent at the same time, having to teach live lessons, record lessons, and be sure that my own 2 children were also getting their education. I'm very concerned about there being a strict guideline about live streaming at certain times, especially because if I need to be doing that and I have my own 2 children that need to be on with their teachers live, I have a 1st grader. He's not going to be able to sit there by himself. So I'm kind of wondering how I'm splitting myself in half. Now I know I'm being presented with something that every other parent in the district has, with childcare. I'm also a single mother. Their father works. So it's just blowing my mind how this is all going to work logistically. So just something to think about. I thought about maybe I can find a high school student maybe that's in the Honor Society that can come help me with my kids. I don't know what the solution is, but I do want you to consider, possibly, revisiting the curriculum and the grading guidelines, because it was very, very stressful back in the spring. I worked my tail off. I was answering parent questions 11 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. So I just want to thank you once again for allowing me to speak, and good luck with all the decisions that you all have to make. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Speziali. And thank you to everyone from the public that had taken the time to not only attend the meeting, but have the courage to speak. for nor or against. We as a board have a tough decision, as many people said this evening, along with Dr. Gruccio. So with that being said, as I look at our agenda, we come to the important piece, most important piece tonight. It's what would be our superintendent's recommendation, which is the discussion and approval regarding the proposed plan to reopen school in September. Dr. Gruccio, I know you're not on my screen, but Jean, is there a way that we can get to the core, the board members all on one screen, or?
If there is, I don't know. I think when people start speaking, they come to the front of the screen.
Okay.
The reason all the people from the phone, the public are there is because they just spoke. So I think when Dr. Gruccio starts to speak, she'll come on the main screen.
Scott, I have everybody on my line, but there's a little waffle up in the right-hand corner. That's what I hit, and then everybody comes up.
There we go. I see all your beautiful faces.
Okay.
Except mine. But, all righty, Dr. Gruccio, how would you like to go about this? I know you would send out the plan to the board. Definitely hearing from the public. They have some of the plan, they have some of it right, they have some of it wrong. They have definitely expressed their feelings. I mean, I believe I've got the pages in front of me. Are you going to go page by page? Or are we going to have just discussion for what the board member knows? How would you prefer we progress with the plan?
I'm assuming that I'm going to make a recommendation for discussion, and then however you want to work it. I have the plan. I think if we go page by page, we will be together for breakfast.
Yes.
But, I can certainly answer any questions. I can start out by explaining how we got to the point we're at, whatever you would like. The first thing I would like to do is thank all of those who took the time to speak. And as I think the board can see, there are so many different opinions about what's right and what's wrong. And people's different experiences are why they feel this way. As superintendent, I need to thank my team, first of all, but so many people, because we've been working on this for weeks and weeks, and we have had meetings with all the superintendents in the county superintendent, the state, the health department, our security team, maintenance, transportation, on and on and on. And that's how we finally got to where we are. And there is no perfect plan. For anybody who called in, I'd be the first to tell you, there is no right or wrong. This is a tough situation. And when we spoke as a team, we strongly believe that safety is the first issue, even though we're here for education and we certainly all want that. I would love for us to be back 5 days a week full time. But we also have to follow governor guidelines. The guidelines say that we must be in person a minimum of one time a week. We didn't just pull 1 day a week out of the air. So he also 2 days ago came out saying that parents can opt for virtual, but it's our responsibility to provide that virtual instruction. So there are a lot of pieces to the puzzle. The reason we got to where we are is we felt, and I had said this on the meeting the other day, but I don't think all the board was there, but I believe you need to start slowly and take baby steps. Right now, the numbers in Cumberland County are great, but I also see a lot of people, as people have just said, without masks in stores, in bars all over the place, no mask, hundreds of people. So some people are taking this seriously and some people are not. So we believe that the safest thing to do is start out slow. And that would mean that we would divide our children in half. Half of them would come in one day, half of them would come in the other day. This would enable our teachers who have children to be there with their children and also to have the least amount of contact. Now, I realize some people feel that 1 day versus 5 days doesn't make a difference. But in a lengthy conversation today with the health department, they told me it most certainly does make a difference. The more days the teacher is exposed to children in a classroom, who's sneezing, who's coughing, whatever it may be, who refuses to wear their mask, the exposure is greater. So what I proposed, or we proposed, is that we start out slow. We bring the kids back 1 day a week so they get to know who their teacher is. They can build some kind of a relationship. They know who that person is. And then if our numbers do not spike by October in Cumberland County, we would then go to phase B or 2, which is to do 2 days and 2 days. Whether or not at this point we can say whether they would be full days or half days is up in the air. Washington Township is doing half days, Millville is doing full days. The issue is this: we would have to send out another survey. And yes, the survey was very brief and not detailed, and we did that purposely. Now, once we know what plan is, if the plan is approved or not, we would have to send out a detailed survey. We would have to know exactly what parents are not sending their children to school. And we need to know exactly what teachers are not planning on coming back. Once we get those numbers, then we can look at a few different scenarios. So, for example, if we have a large number of teachers who are not coming back, we could develop a virtual academy, and they could do the online instruction for the students who are not coming back to school. We can look at example, if we have 6 algebra teachers and we have 40 kids not coming back, we might be able to eliminate 1 algebra teacher and have them do the online algebra. There are so many factors that have to be worked out, and that will be based on the exact numbers we get when we resurvey. But I did not want to do that till I know if the board supports my plan. Also, the plan has not been shared with parents and not put online because I saw no point in putting a plan out until it's approved. So once a plan is approved, I will put it on our website. We have a letter that we have composed that will go out to every parent explaining the plan. We are ordering PPE for all of our staff. We are ordering masks for all of our children. I'm trying to think what I'm forgetting to say. Special ed will come in 2 days a week, not 1. And then in October, we would revisit based on the county numbers and make a decision whether we go forward for the 4 days. I spoke at length today with the health department, with the Bridgeton superintendent, with the Millville superintendent. Millville feels by going forward 2 full days a week and having A and B, that they will have enough staff not coming in to do this virtually, or that they will eliminate like 1 algebra teacher, 1 English teacher, and have them do the online piece. Bridgeton is doing 4 days, but only 25% of their children. So all of their students will get 1 day of instruction, just like us. And then phase 2 of his plan is also to move up to 50% and then increase our numbers and but increase the days of the week that students will come in. So I just want you to understand that we have had numerous conversations with our fellow colleagues in the county, with the state, with the health department, with our mayor, with all kind of stakeholders. And then when we met with our big committee, that meeting was so that we could share what the plan was with a representative group and get feedback. So for example, our original plan was going to send a memo home to parents and have them sign off that they would take the temperature of their child every day, and they would not send their child to school if their child had any of the above symptoms. Some people on that phone call or on that Zoom meeting felt we definitely should move forward and take temperatures. So we added that to the plan. We ordered appropriate thermometers. We don't know if we can get large equipment in or if we can afford it, but we've ordered touchless thermometers. We will take 1 bus at a time as they arrive, enter through 1 door, take the temperatures of our children, and they will go to their classroom. And that, so we took the feedback from that meeting. VEA sent me feedback afterwards. I answered all the questions that were, in the chat. So that meeting was to revise and tweak what we have before we move forward. And I got a lot of feedback and we took that into consideration, and we now have a plan that we believe in, and we think it's a way to begin slowly. And we have, I think, 19 days in September. And again, it's playing it safe. It's protecting our teachers, it's protecting our children, it's protecting all of our staff. Everybody is important, and it's moving slowly. So the next step would be to find out definitely what children aren't coming back, what teachers are not coming back, and we can get all of that in place so that we're ready for the school year. If things look good and numbers are stable, we move forward with an additional day. I can't tell you at this time until we get more into the plan if that phase 2 would be half days or full days. I would like them to be full days, but I just have to make sure that we have the numbers to support the virtual piece that the governor said we must do. So I don't know if there's something I didn't cover, if there's, you know, whatever questions you have, I will try to answer.
All right, Dr. Gruccio, just so we know, I don't want to, you and I have been talking daily, nightly, during the week. You and I have hashed this out a lot. I believe you know how I feel and how Vice President Ulrich feels. I have my fellow board members that have spoke to me daily as well, and they've given me the pros and the cons. I believe you know how we as a board feel. The tough thing that happened, just so the public knows, is the board was really not part of any of the initial discussion. So the first time the board received it was on the 13th or the 14th of the month. So there were some things that the board has brought to your attention through me, of course, and it wasn't part of the plan that is being put forward. And I never like to say the board has the final vote. So what I like to say is, if that discussion piece was part of the beginning, when that committee style was put forward by the governor, we were supposed to have a wide variety of stakeholders. And we definitely did have that group on Thursday, the 16th. I do agree with you there, but there was still a lot of, yeah, you could put 150 people on that committee and then we wouldn't be too productive. But the board really, I'm speaking for the board, was not really part of the process. They were part of a plan that was given to them. And that's when the questions have started. And that's why we came to a special meeting here, because I truly believe our students, staff, parents, community need to know what we are doing. So I guess my first question for you is, I want to make sure that I understood this, because you and I spoke with the county superintendent lengthy the other day. You have to have a plan, get approved by the county by we had thought it was the 1st of August, but I believe it's the 16th of August now. Is that correct?
I'm under the impression August 1st, parents must be notified of what the plan is. And we were given instruction to have a plan submitted prior so we can send our notification to parents. So I would like to have that plan approved, you know, quickly so that we can move forward.
Okay. And then secondly, that plan was also said by the county superintendent that she had not received any information as of our meeting that the state is going to approve a plan. Is that correct?
They need to approve a plan. We do not have any guidelines from them at this time as to what they want in the plan. So we have developed, Strauss Esme has a template out there, and we have a template that we worked on. And that's what we're submitting, because they have not sent us any template to use for our plan submittal.
Okay. Now, what I would like to do moving forward with this meeting is, I have some board members that, if you would like to ask any questions, I've tried to answer as many as I can through your questions back and forth. Today, I had shared with Dr. Gruccio the Millville plan that actually went out on YouTube. A lot of community members shared it with me. I shared it with Dr. Gruccio this morning. I shared it with my fellow board members. And of course, the reaction I'm getting is, how can Millville put something out? And he was very creative. He did say that pretty much it's a fluid document that is at the mercy and change of the daily roller coaster decisions. He didn't say roller coaster. I'm saying roller coaster decisions of our governor. So the board really took a liking to that Millville plan, which is a little more intense than the Washington Township plan that we talked about. So at this time, I think what I want to do is I want to go in my board format. If someone does have nothing to say, I'm fine with that. But if I start, as I usually do, to the left with Ms. Cataspati, do you have any questions or concerns for Dr. Gruccio?
Hey, Scott, as a point of order, Dr. Gruccio has to move her recommendation into a motion, and then we can entertain discussion by the board members, if I'm correct.
I thought we discussed first and then make the recommendation to approve. I already did say I recommend discussion. Am I wrong, Bob?
No, that's why I did not interject, because this is our usual process where you recommend discussion, and then after there's discussion, keeping in mind, this is a joint meeting. We don't have the benefit of a work session. So no, the discussion takes place now. After the discussion is done, there'll be a motion to approve. And at that time, the vote takes.
All right. I'd be happy to answer any questions I can. I just want to make one comment, and I respect every one of you as board members. And I think you know that I'm always available. I will answer any questions I can. If I don't have the answer, I will go find it. But nobody has even reached out to me to ask a question about the plan, and I'm available. The meeting on I don't want you to think that all the districts have had all these little meetings with board members. Millville and Bridgeton just got their superintendent. Within a month, they've been there. And so what most of the districts have done is develop a plan with the stakeholders that have medical background, who can answer our questions about PPE, all those kind of things. And then when a plan was put together, shared it with a large committee for feedback and to get some input as to whether or not we needed to change that before it came to the board. So that was the purpose, and that's the way we've all kind of laid things out across the county. If a board member felt left out, I apologize. But I think you all know me well enough to pick up the phone and call me at any time. So I'm here to answer anything I can for you. I passionately believe in the plan we put together. It's moving slowly. In 19 days after school starts, if the numbers are substantiated in Cumberland County, we'll move to the 2-day plan. I just believe we need to take it slowly for the safety of everyone involved. I'm very passionate about that. And after I talked to the health department at length, I'm even more passionate. So I believe taking baby steps is important. So I'll stop talking and I'll entertain any questions I could try to answer for you.
Are my fellow board members comfortable with me going side by side, or you just want me to keep on going? Because I can talk for hours. So I mean, you've been around me long enough. So how would you like to proceed? Kim, are you ready?
I do want to say that when we got the plan, I think maybe we should have been called in as groups or discussed it as groups. There was a lot in it since we just got it a few days ago. I did try to reach out. So I don't know what happened with that, but since this has first started back in March, I've had one concern, and one concern is our students. Now, I've talked to many parents, I've talked to teachers, I've talked to a lot of people in our district, out of our district, board members, and they've all told me, the ones that I've spoken to, that we need to get our kids back into school a little more than they were. I know I'm going to let you know what has been weighing on my mind since March. I feel for those students, those seniors who have missed everything, and now the seniors who are going to miss everything. The athletes who have worked so hard to be in the championship things, they can't anymore. They're not getting those scholarships. Our kids with the IEPs, the special needs, they're not getting what they need. We heard that here tonight, and I have a few friends who have emphasized that to me tremendously. We have students that the only time they eat is in the schools. I know we've had food distributed, but a lot of people still didn't know about it. I would happen to run across people and I would tell them about it. I know we have kids that are, I'm going to say, I don't want to use the word depressed, but depressed. They miss their classmates. They miss being involved in things, and that concerns me. My main concern is our students. I want them to be safe, but I want them to get the quality of education that they need. And just doing, from what I heard last year, it wasn't enough. A lot of our kids, their safety net is the school, is the teacher, is the principal, and that worries me. There's so many more things that are involved in this, and you know that. Everybody knows that. It's not just going to school. Everybody knows that, from, you know, from all the teachers that spoke tonight to the parents to everybody sitting here looking at me. You know, there's just so many more things.
I think all of us would love to see our kids back.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
And I know we have to keep them safe. Believe me, I do. I've had to work every day at my job, and I have autoimmune issues too. I'm just careful. I wear a mask. I do the sanitizer. I've talked to some of the preschools that are operating camps because I wanted to know how that was going, and it's going wonderfully. So I just think that maybe, you know, I wish we had been able to be involved earlier with that. I mean, I thought the committee was supposed to be aiding in this plan, but from what I understood from what happened Thursday, because I opted out so one of our chairman of one of the committees could go in, that the plan was already in place and there was no input from any of the stakeholders.
There was input.
So I just wish it had been a little bit more for, you know, with the board being able to know a little bit more.
So I think what you're saying is the board would have liked to have more input in the committees that we did along the way. Okay, that's what I'm hearing, correct?
Not just the board. I think when the governor came down and said, you know, he wanted all kinds of stakeholders involved, I just think, I wish we could have started it earlier so that that whole big committee could have met maybe a couple of times.
There were, okay, just so you know, there were many stakeholders involved until we put a type of a plan in place before we took it to a large committee. When you have 68 people, it's difficult to get total agreement. So we had many small committees and we put a plan in place to present to the large committee. We took their feedback and we adjusted our plan. And as I said that day, I'm more than willing to meet with them again or any of you. So I apologize if you felt that you were left out. That's just not the way most of the districts did it. So I apologize.
Okay, I guess it was just a misunderstanding from what I heard as how it was supposed to be handled. That's all.
Excuse me, Kim. Dr. Guccio, another thing, you have to remember the taxpayers put us in these seats first and foremost, and we would have liked to see a bigger, diverse parental involvement on that committee. We wanted to see North, South, East, and West Vineland. Because we have a huge population that both parents are working, some working 2 jobs, and they are not home. And I know you know this, and we've talked about it. And we have an obligation to our taxpayers to be the voice for them. And when they said to me, was there a committee? I didn't quite know how to answer that because, yeah, there was a committee. And I know the next question was, well, why wasn't a survey put out there and asked who was interested? And at that point, we look at their address and we try and say, okay, we did, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, I did not see a diverse parental involvement when I want to say North, South, East, and West when it came to Vineland. And it's easy to talk about it now because it's over. Mm-hmm. But again, they are the people that put the 9 of us in these seats that we speak for.
And Mr. English, that was something that was also said to me. I had a whole list of things and I just kept jumping around, but I had many parents, single moms, dads, and parents who have to work both jobs, you know, that are both working, that are very, very concerned because they don't know what they're going to do. If they don't go at some point, then they're going to lose their jobs.
We are providing a list of places that are providing daycare. And if we move to 4 days, we will then be moving forward with hiring a company to do wraparound like we did in the past. But
is that going to how much is that going to cost? I mean, is that going to cost? Because I know some of these parents can't afford that.
Well, I don't know of any free daycare that I'm.
Right, but what I'm saying is now they're going to have to pay for daycare that they wouldn't have to pay for. You
They-
understand what I'm saying? Because their kids are in school.
They
just
pay for daycare even with us. It's not free.
No, but what I'm trying to say is if they have to stay home to teach their kids, or they have to go to work and their kids are home, being virtually taught, they have to decide what they're going to do, stay home with their kids or work. And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not talking about after school or something like that. I'm talking about like during the day.
All right, Ms. Cataspati, let me go look at my list. I have Mr. Sobrana sits next to you. Mr. Sobrana, do you have anything?
Yeah, the taxpayers put us in this chair to make decisions, and we have to make a decision on this. Frankly, I would have preferred a budget model with this, where when the budget's put together, we get together in small groups to discuss that, ask any questions face to face or virtually, however it might be. That didn't happen. And the first time I had any substantive information about this was the other day when we had our curriculum meeting. It's kind of a little late in the game, but the taxpayers have been speaking and the parents, of course, that have been speaking very loudly and clearly to me. And I have a whole, list too, but it's been a long night already. A couple of things that were most clear was that 1 day a week was not going to help kids who had special needs, and that those are IEPs and they need speech therapy and a whole litany of those things. And the second one was something one of the callers touched on, but I think that is very important, that if we're going to go to school 1 day and we don't know whether the government's going to come in and say, hey, everybody, we're going to go back to 100% virtual, or we're going to go back to 5 days a week. What about uniforms and about the cost therein? And the kids outgrow them, weekly practically. So whatever we do, I know it's a minor concern, but should we waive those uniform requirements for a while? And I know that it's hard to put Pandora back in the box, but it's something to talk about too. So, those are a couple of the most pressing items, at least the way I see it, from the limited amount of information I've had. And I have looked at the Millville model and the Washington Township model and some best practices that people across the country have put forward. And I do believe we're fortunate that right here in this part of New Jersey, we can even have a conversation about being in those buildings, because there's lots and lots of places where that's just not going to be possible. Safety wise, the only thing that, in my view, that I'm ever going to feel comfortable again is there's a demonstrably effective vaccine, widely available and proven. So anything that we do from here to that point, and I guess that's going to be at the very earliest in early 2021, there's obviously going to be concerns, and I have them like everyone else. So.
And I think that's why we're trying to be cautious. But just go back to your point about IEPs. Our special ed students will be going in both days, not just one.
And it's arguable whether that's enough. I just know that I have a family member with a child in that situation, and the virtual learning and that it's just a terrible situation. It was just not a good environment, for him. It did not do well. So, and he's certainly not the only one.
I don't think there's any perfect model. I think this is very tough, but I would like to ask Ms. Godlewski if she has anything to say. You asked our team to be on the meeting, so she is available. And I know she's worked extremely hard to make sure the special ed students were not shortchanged. We know it's not perfect, but I'd like to give her an opportunity to address your concern. Terry.
Oh, there. Trying to unmute myself here. My team and I met, and based upon conversations with teachers, conversations with parents, informal ones that we've had throughout this whole time that we were doing remote learning, we do know for special education students as well as all students, not everybody was successful within the remote learning. We just felt some of our kids did extremely well, and our teachers did, as we heard from many of our families tonight. We had teachers who went above and beyond. Many of our teachers went above and beyond. They did an awesome job. But working within the parameter of Dr. Gruccio's framework of the schools being open, working within the framework of safety first, but also understanding that very specialized programs need additional time with live instruction. My team and I had determined that we felt that our self-contained programs would benefit the most if they could come back to school both days when school was open, and then there would be virtual the other 3 days. We are working with, again, my team and I are working with teachers, with principals, trying to figure out what our in-class resource programs are going to look like, because that is a general education program. Students with IEPs are in the general ed program, so they would only be going on the day that their cohort would be going, but we're working on making sure that we are able to deliver their specialized instruction as well as all the accommodations. So we just felt within the parameters of what the district was discussing, we could up the days for our very specialized programs. It would benefit the students greatly. So again, as Dr. Gruccio and everybody else has said, it's not a perfect situation, but again, with the parameters, we just feel that the additional face time will be beneficial.
Terry, I agree with you. You know it. We know we have to do better, and the best way is to have more teacher-student contact. Okay, thank you. Next, I have Mr. Silva, who brings an interesting spin because he also is with the Bridgeton School District. So I always look forward to what he has to share with us.
Well, I personally feel, I mean, our Bridgeton plan, Dr. Gruccio already expounded a little bit on the Bridgeton plan. It's a 4-day, 25% in the classroom. I personally feel, I think more face-to-face for our students is needed. Just for the emotional and the social aspects of the kids, but like, you know, all my fellow board members have spoken about how the information, we didn't get too much of the information until a little bit later in the game. But I personally feel that more face-to-face time for our kids, so they can actually, you know, have that time in the classroom with their teacher. I personally feel that's what our students need.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Now we'll go over to my right, Mr. Fiocchi.
Yes, so throughout the week, I've talked to Mr. English and Dr. Gruccio. My one main concern is if we're doing the 1 day, and if a student misses 1 day, it's almost 2 weeks with no face-to-face instruction. And I'm also fine phasing in, but my concern would be that we never meet those metrics, and you know, we keep kicking it down the road and we never make it to phase 2. So you know, those are my concerns. I don't know if 1 day is enough, and we're kind of handcuffed by the governor's regulations as well. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Mr. Fiocchi. Mr. Holmes.
Yes, thank you to Dr. Gruccio and her team that put this plan together. My main concern is not that I don't need to be involved in the process of the plan making. The people that need to be involved are the people that put me in this seat, and that's the taxpayers and the parents. And I believe that communication is key, and communication has not been consistent, and there's been a lack of it when it comes to parents, when it comes to the board, when it comes to teachers. When we got the plan, it was in a paragraph form in an email, and that was it. Most districts that you've seen, they've posted interactive videos. They've discussed, almost like Mr. Sabrina touched on, how we do our budget, and we go line by line, everything that we need to be prepared for when we go back to school. So like I said, communication is key, and I think a lot of this hysteria and what we've heard from parents tonight could have been alleviated if we just communicated better. We are way behind the ball than other school districts, and we're going to be in August pretty soon. So those are my concerns. I do not support 1 day a week of learning. I do not think that's beneficial for our students, especially our special ed students. Those parents need to be at the table, and I will not support a plan where parents are not on that committee. No parents were on the committee, and I've only seen the names of 4 teachers that were involved in the committee, and 2 of the teachers were union representatives. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. My passionate Miss Acosta. How are you?
Good. Well, I guess for me, look, I definitely, well, first of all, Dr. Bruccio, I know that you and your team and all of the members of the committee, have gone and thought out what you believe is best for the students. There is no doubt in my mind that in earnest that this plan that you propose is what you believe is in the best of all. However, I've also, as a parent of children who did struggle, because I know some kids did really, really well. Other kids, like mine, struggled immensely. And I can't even imagine what it's going to be, in the fall. I'm hoping, and honestly, I don't think it really had to do with the instruction, because the teachers were really, truly awesome and wonderful. I think it had to do more with the social emotional aspects that they struggled with. And that truly concerns me. I've honestly looked, I've tried to look at the data. I've tried to, just by myself, because I wasn't part of the committee. And again, I don't need to be part of a committee, but I feel that we're kind of taking all the kids and putting them in like a single peg, and they don't all fit properly. I think that what we need to do is really, take a look a little more, the kids with special needs, they need more. They need to be in school more. Certain kids that have these social emotional needs may require, maybe they need to be in school more. After hearing the participants tonight, which is really, I've heard from parents here and there, but after hearing from the participants tonight, I'm getting, an idea of what some of the teachers are thinking, of what some of the parents are thinking. And it sounds like, you're going to have a diverse amount, and we don't even know how many really, how many parents would opt in for in-class instruction. And it sounds like a significant number of parents would opt out. If there's enough parents opting out for their kids to be home, then maybe we need to relook at, what the in-class instruction would be, because then we might have a small group of students where we would be able to social distance, and we would be able to meet the requirements to ensure the safety of all staff members and all children. But without having that data, without really knowing what parents are thinking, I don't feel comfortable supporting this plan right now without that data. I would like to see the children 2 days a week. I think that, look, I'm not saying go in there, 5 days a week. I know that's impossible, but having the kids, at least start to build a rapport early on in, to me, I believe is important, because my concern is that as the school year goes on, the reality is that, we've got colds and the flu season, besides the pandemic, and when kids have the sniffles or coughing, because it could be just a common cold, a lot of kids are going to start missing school, because we have to basically preclude these kids from coming in. My feeling is, you know, if the children, you know, are being properly screened, temperature checks are being done, you know, we've got the PPE, we're doing the sanitizing, we're doing the social distancing, then give the kids early on in as much as possible to build those relationships. And then, you know, I just have a feeling we're going to have to scale back eventually. I know we need a plan that is going to be fluid and
We need to interrupt the meeting and discuss this, and then we'll decide what we're going to do.
So I think maybe if we can collect that data, and then, you know, basically try to assess exactly, you know, what are the numbers we're looking at? How many, you know, because we don't even know exactly, again, what this virtual academy is going to look like.
That's the next step, to see if we have enough people that we can even do that, but that would be the next step. First,
I'm sorry, Mr. President, I need to interrupt the meeting.
Please.
I'm at Landis right now, and
Yes.
we're going through a serious thunderstorm,
Right.
and I've lost the connection here.
Mhm.
So what I've done is I'm streaming the meeting live from my phone right now, but I believe the YouTube connection went down briefly.
Yes.
Because the internet connection at Landis is gone right now. So I'm only connected to my phone, but I did get it back going, but I just wanted everyone to be aware of what may have happened.
Okay, yeah, and my lights are flickering here, and I see some
Yeah.
people have texted me they've lost their internet. So I think
Can we table this and maybe?
If I may, Mr. English,
yes.
Perhaps you should just take a recess for 15 minutes to see what the situation is. I mean,
if you want, we could just take a vote. It doesn't sound like I have support, and we don't have time to keep playing games. I need a plan. So if you don't support my plan, I have no problem with that. But I would like to vote on it so I can move forward with the next plan, because we're under a timeline, and I don't want parents to find out information too late. I need to inform parents of exactly what we're doing by August 1st. And it, you know, right now it doesn't sound like anybody's supportive, and I'm okay with that. I believe in what we put together. I stand by that, but I respect your opinion. It sounds to me like this board feels they should have been involved from the ground up. And I believe it was my role with my people and the people we reached out to lay out a plan first and then share it. Obviously, we agree on that, and that's fine. But I need to move forward tomorrow. So if you would like to vote this plan down, it's fine. But I really think it's important that we move forward.
Mr. English?
Yes.
Hello? Mr. English, I have a question.
Yes.
Is the plan that Dr. Gruccio talking about, is it in printed form, in a binder? I mean, is there an actual concrete document?
I don't have it in binder form. We had an email form, and it was shared by Rossini to all board members. So it was in that
All I'm
type of-
saying is that whatever it is that you're voting on has to be on file with the board secretary. So there has to be some document that you're voting yay or nay on.
The document is attached to the agenda, Bob. It's a full document.
Okay, fine then. Okay. I don't get the full agenda.
I'm sorry. I can send it to you. I apologize.
No, that's fine. So what I'm saying to you, Mr.
Would
English,
that agenda be on the website?
Mr.
I'm
English,
not going to put a plan on the website until we have an approved plan. That's why it's not up there yet. I have to make sure the plan is approved so that I can send it to the state and put it up for parents. But I can't do that until we agree on a plan.
right.
Okay.
Mr.
Would there be
English,
any way?
right now you're at the point of the superintendent's recommendation for discussion. If you wanted to terminate the discussion, she can then make a recommendation for approval.
Yes.
If the recommendation for approval dies for lack of a motion, then it's defeated.
Yes.
Okay, so that's your next step.
Can I
The-
just
the
get
plan-
clarity on one thing, Mr. English? If this plan goes down, I need to work on the next plan. Is this board, from what I'm hearing, telling me they're comfortable with 2 days and 2 days? Because I don't want to move forward and spend another 8 weeks and then the board vote it down. Is it 2 days that this board is looking for each group of students?
After the board viewed the Millville plan today via the YouTube link. We all felt that that was the plan that Vineland should have probably been using all along as the lead district in Cumberland County. So that being said, I don't want to turn it into the board is directing you. I think we should put it to vote. And then I asked Mr. DeSanto to give me the verbiage for a possible motion by a board member and second for Dr. Gruccio to start effective immediately tomorrow, the plan that mirrors what our neighboring school district is doing.
Okay, I just want to ask one thing. Millville was doing what we were doing until yesterday, and they flipped and changed their plan last minute because they heard Vineland wasn't supporting our plan. So they went with a 2-day plan. We can go with that plan. I just want you to understand carefully that I can't promise you that we're going to have enough teachers not teaching to do a virtual academy, or that I'm going to have enough students not coming in. We'll work on those numbers, but I cannot promise you a full day. First, they like the Washington Township plan, that's a half day. Now they like the Millville plan. Come up with another plan, are you going to want that? I can go with 2 days, but I can't promise you at this point in time until we have numbers, whether or not they'll be full days or half days.
When can you tell us that?
After we survey people and get exact people who are and are not coming in. Including we need to know what students aren't coming back and what teachers aren't coming back.
Do you need a day? Do you need a week?
No, it would not be a day. We need some time to get those statistics and analyze how we can make this work.
And this was the most important piece I was trying to stress. The board from day one wanted more than 1 day back.
They never told me that. You told me that. I have not heard from any.
You have heard from me.
Mr.
Dr.
Ulrich
Gruccio.
and you were the only two that called me.
And I
And you heard from
understand
the
that. But you have
Curriculum
to
and
also,
Technology Committee also.
you have to listen. I don't want to get in a he said, she said, or a debate.
No, and I don't either. I just would like to vote on this so I can move forward.
Okay, at this time, do I have a motion for Dr. Gruccio's current plan? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
For a vote? Yeah, we have to do a vote, Scott.
No.
Yeah.
I asked for a
You said
motion.
You need a motion to approve the plan.
I asked for a motion.
And if you don't have a motion and a second, there's nothing to vote on. The plan is not approved.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Costa,
No.
Mrs. Scottisbody,
No.
Mr. Fiocchi,
No.
Mr. Holmes,
No.
Mr. Sabrana,
No.
Mr. Silva,
No.
Ms. Spinelli,
No.
Mr. Ulrich.
I didn't get a chance to make a short comment when the thunderstorms were hitting, but I did want to say that Dr. Gruccio and his staff did put together a safe plan for kids and teachers. However, my sole purpose was I wanted them to have more face-to-face time so that these kids could actually get somewhat of a real meaningful education as well as the governor will allow. So my vote is no.
I did. Mr. English.
As stated, Dr. Gruccio and I spoke with my fellow board members. I spoke with a lot of my community members. At this particular time, I will be voting no.
The motion fails.
At this point, Mr. DeSanto, what I would need from you is if Dr. Gruccio goes back to the drawing board tomorrow with a plan and the board possibly doesn't like it in a week, 10 days, 1 day, whatever we had said, then that is not fair to central administration. Now that I believe it's pretty crystal clear what the board is looking for.
Yes, I have.
I would like just to the proper verbiage to use, because I don't want to read the headline tomorrow that I don't want this to be the pill of naming two. That's the best I can put it, okay? I want it to be known that we respect the plan that was put forward and the work that was put into it, but we, as the Vineland Board of Education, with a 9-0 vote, have decided that we would like to move forward with the model that Millville put forward publicly. And what they stated with that is it is a fluid document. So there could be some changes due to the governor with something, but we want the students and staff back in with the face-to-face contact as much as possible, but keeping in mind the PPE things, where we want to make sure that we are as safe as possible. That's the key thing there. I don't want to hear that. I know that the governor has laid down some mandates, but there's nothing that says we can't be better than his mandates, which means maybe a mask and a shield for teacher, things like that. That's the discussion. I hate to say we're going to start discussing now. That's the kind of discussion I think should have happened a few weeks back, but we can't turn the clock back. So if we have to burn the midnight oil for the next 10 days to get the right thing in place for board approval, so be it. I will be there night after night, day after day. But I need to know how we can guide Dr. Gruccio the proper way moving forward.
We're dealing with PPE appropriately, Mr. English, just so you know. Paul has researched what type of stuff to get, so has Jean. We know what needs to be purchased, and we're moving forward getting that equipment. So I feel very comfortable with the PPE that our district is putting in place. We're getting 95 masks for every nurse. We're getting masks for all employees. Some of the elementary teachers and speech teachers would like to have clear masks. They're very expensive if you get the ones that can be used again, but we're looking into that and trying to have them available. So we're right on top of the PPE, and we're getting everything that's necessary, including the cleaning and everything else for our schools. So we feel very comfortable with that piece of the plan.
Okay, and then secondly, as I heard the teachers speak tonight, professional development. If indeed things get a little bit crazy mid-year, I would like to see our teachers. I know we have a start date for school, but I don't know that it says anywhere that we can't start a week later. And let's have 5 days of intense professional development for our teachers, so they know as much as possible to start the year with this online learning or whatever we are doing. I know nobody wants to be in professional development 5 days in a row, but the chances of them, if we spread it out throughout the year, them not getting it, I know at least I can give it to them come September 1 through 5. And then maybe we start the second or third week. Have we thought about things like that?
I understand that we work as a county to develop our calendars, and I'm not comfortable starting the second or third week. But I will ask Mr. Fry if he would please speak to the professional development, because there has been major work done on that to provide what our teachers need. So I'm going to ask him if he'd please speak to that.
Can I just, one thing I just want to know is, I need to know if it can be done 5 days in a row before school starts and we start school a week late. I know what the county superintendent already had told me. So the Board of Education does control the calendar. So in case the board didn't know that, we do control that and any changes to that.
4 days, we have the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. So the teachers will be available on the 3rd and 4th to deliver or hand out Chromebooks and materials to students. They have the afternoon to then do any PD necessary. So that's 4 days, and we're comfortable with that. And I'm going to ask Mr. Fry to explain the plan that he put in place, because there's even opportunities for that.
Mr. Fry?
Thank you, Dr. Gruccio. Thank you, Mr. English. There's really a 3-phased piece. Beginning on August 3rd, there will be 10 on-demand workshops available through ETTC, which is the statewide professional development organization out of Stockton University. It will contain lessons, everything from beginning activities to online learning activities to how to build online lesson plans, It's a wide range and something for everyone from the beginning online teacher to the most extensive online teacher experience. That's one part of the plan. The second part of the plan is building out our website with 2 different resources for home and resources for school. Resources for home will include a wide variety of how to hook up, how to connect, how to, as a parent with Google Classroom, which we started the first phase in March as well. The next part will be a teacher component. Dr. Gruccio asked us to put together a help desk kind of thing for teachers that will be on demand. We have that ready to go and pull the trigger on that. It'll include 2 support people with a second level support as well. It'll be divided into kind of a break fix kind of thing, a simple troubleshooting technology for teachers that they can call and have access to. And it will also include a more instructional component as well, help with my Google Classroom, help with my Linkit, help with my other components. That's also in place, ready to go. And then there's also the teacher resources that we have built out on the website as well that are available anytime. So I think that in a nutshell is the big plan that we have to support both or all teachers, parents, and students.
So will you consider 5 days of professional development before school starts in a row, was the question.
We have 4.
Okay. And the start of school is
It's the 1st of September.
September 1st?
Correct.
And that's providing you will have all the necessary PPE and everything. We're not going to start if we don't have everything in the classrooms.
I'm told that we will have everything we need.
Scott, if I could say something.
Yes, sir.
The issue that I've been awaiting is the decision of, the board based on Mary's recommendation. I've been interacting with employees each day on email, and the plan that is agreed upon will then let me interact further with concerned employees and what can be done to accommodate, if anything. I've been in touch with Mr. Farinaccio, who and his crew have done an amazing job throughout this. I will have a better idea of who will be on site once the plan is approved, and we'll know what kind of resources we need. And I'd like to brief Mr. Ulrich and his personnel committee about some ideas I have in that regard.
With that being said, all committees, chairs, I'm just going to put you on alert now. Schedule emergency meetings immediately, because we haven't even touched the nightmare called transportation yet. Okay, so my original thing,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but we have done a lot with transportation. We have all of our principals are working on dividing students in half. Mike has been working on a whole variety of things with Damari, and I think we're in good shape as far as what we're going to need to do with busing. And they're more than welcome. They're online. They're more than welcome to speak to that. Mike, D. Mike, you there?
I had got a text that Dee lost her internet, so I'm not sure.
They're at Landis also.
They've divided the students into 2 cohorts, an A and a B. Whether they go to school 1 day or 2 days, it's still the same cohort of students.
Correct.
So that work is largely done. That email came through today.
That's right.
Okay, so if we go to a different plan, it's a turnkey operation?
You're still putting the kids on the same buses, just different days of the week.
The only thing we need to do, Scott, is now go back and put in there that it will be 2 days per week. The only piece I can't promise till I get solid numbers are whether we can do it on a full day or a half day. We're hoping for a full day. I can't promise that. I have to get solid numbers. But the only piece of the plan that's going to change is how many days a week the kids are coming in. Unless the governor comes out and closes us down before we can do anything.
Which possibly can happen, because again, we've rode that roller coaster for months. Mr. DeSanto, the original question, do I just ask for a motion? How would you like me to?
Based upon what I'm hearing and the consensus of the board that I've observed, I would suggest that you entertain a motion requesting the superintendent to develop a return to school plan for September 2020, consistent with the plan and the cohort schedule adopted by the Millville Board of Education.
I guess you wanted me to write that in shorthand.
I just
I
can't
will.
Bob. I can't promise that until we know our numbers. I can promise the 2 days, but I can't say I'm going to follow Millville exactly.
Mary, you're not being directed. Mr. English asked me to phrase it in terms of requesting or recommending, and it's consistent with the plan. I will email the wording to Mr. Merkley for the minutes, but it's requesting the superintendent to develop a return to school plan for September 2020 with the plan and cohort schedule adopted by the Millville Board of Education, consistent with.
I guess I'm a little thick. I don't understand.
What if we can't be consistent with it because their plan says they're going back 2 full days and 2 full days? We have.
Mary,
we
I've
don't-
been asked to, I just drew this up. I was asked to draw a motion requesting or recommending to you that you develop a plan that is consistent with the plan and the cohort schedule adopted by Millville. Their board is asking you to.
I'm not sure if Millville adopted it yet. Have they adopted it yet, or is it supposed to?
Yes,
They're doing it on the 3rd of August.
Oh,
There's a whole lot of time between now and
Can I
then.
make a suggestion? I mean, I think Mary understands what we're looking for. I'm not, you know, I like her plan, you know, I mean, I think she's worked really hard. We don't have to adopt everything Millville does. I think Mary understands that what we're looking for is an extra day per kid.
We want
How
4.
that really, it's, you know, how that, you know, how it's worded, it should be, Mary should be able to come back to us and
Make it
present
switch, yeah.
what she wants to. We shouldn't have to, it shouldn't be, it doesn't have to mirror Millville's exactly the same.
Right. I
Do
don't
you,
think
Mary, do you understand what we want or not? That's what I need to know.
we want 2 days. All I can tell you is we wanted 2 days yesterday from Washington Township. Well, that's half days. Now you want 2 days like Millville. That's full days. I will go do a plan with 2 days and 2 days, but I cannot at this time promise you whether it will be full days or half days until we continue to survey and get solid numbers. I'm fine with you saying do a 2-day plan. I just can't say I'll do Washington Township or Millville till we move further and have solid information about how many kids are not coming back and how many teachers are not coming back. That's why I'm uncomfortable mentioning Millville. I'm okay with a 2-day plan if that's what you want me to do.
When will you know that?
Mention in another district. I will
When,
develop the 2-day.
when will we know those numbers?
I have to survey
Do
people.
you want, I'll give you the Friday. What do you want? I mean,
I'm on vacation actually this week and I haven't been on vacation yet. So I'm going to spend Thursday and Friday with my family. And when I get in Monday, I'll put out a survey.
okay, this is. how
Where
it's
would
gonna
that
go.
survey be located at?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
That's a member of the public.
Where would the survey be located at? Where
We're
would
going
you
to
go to find the
develop
survey?
the survey. It will go out to all parents. and-
Hold on, yeah. As a member of the public.
I'm gonna
Everyone has to
unmute-
mute
I'm
themselves.
going to unmute you all one at a time. Don't mute yourself. If you mute yourself, you will not be able to unmute yourself because a member of the public continues to unmute themselves, and I've removed them from the meeting a couple times already. So when I unmute you, don't mute yourself. And I'm talking to the Board of Education because you will not be able to unmute yourself again. I have to do that so I don't have the public interrupting the meeting. So I'm going to unmute you all right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can I just make a point of clarification? We have already asked the staff to contact Joe Rossi in the survey that we sent to the staff, and that's why they've been contacting him. So we're starting to get the numbers of staff that have disqualifying medical conditions and things like that. I don't think that list is fully complete. That's why we wouldn't know the exact amount of staff members who are going to not be returning to work in a physical way. that can only
It's
work.
it's far from complete. What I was trying to say to Mr. English was the plan would come in, it would be approved, and then the people, and I will work with our people about who is just not feeling safe coming in and how we'll deal with that.
I also need to talk to the union because if you recall, Dr. Rossi, when we sent out the survey, they were not all comfortable responding. So I need to make that phone call tomorrow and talk to them so that make sure we're on the same page so that we get correct responses.
Yeah, in my discussions with Mr. Russo, he was not comfortable recommending to his members to respond because the plan is not approved. The plan is not known.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Contact Mr. Russo first thing tomorrow. I'm sure he's listening, and we are all in this together. He definitely sees where the Vineland Board of Education is going here. So there's no more secrets. If he wants to put his own survey out there, if you want to continue with the 2-question survey that went out, get it done yesterday.
Mr. Russo has been talking to me on a regular basis. He did put out his own survey, and his only concern was about the HIPAA law. And I understand that and respect it. So I will go over the question with him and we'll put it out together so that Joe knows what kind of numbers we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not obviously seeking specifics like with any doctor's note.
Right.
It's just I want to talk to people honestly about how they feel. You heard their passion tonight. With all due respect to Mr. Russo, Carol Belowski, Paul Farnaccio, Jean Nieves, Heidi Nieves, excuse me. All these people are all union leaders who have a stake in this.
Yeah, and they've been sitting on their seats waiting to hear what the heck's going on. So now I think they got a good picture of how it's going to go.
They've been involved in many of my discussions.
They can go on the YouTube page that Millville has, and it's pretty clear.
Well, if I can just offer just a little bit of sense here. The teachers that didn't want to come back, they weren't going to come back for the 1-day plan, once a day. So I think we're talking about semantics here. So if you developed your plan based upon teachers not coming to work, they're still not going to come to work, the ones that aren't going to do it. So it really is like we have a base, and I really think that we're really overthinking this. We put in 2 days a week. That's the best we can do based upon the governor's guidelines.
That's correct. And
That's
I will call Mr. Russo and we will put out a question and have them respond to Joe that he is comfortable with and we are comfortable with. So Joe can get a pretty accurate number of how many staff will not return. We will also do a survey so the parents will respond if their child's not returning, what school, who the child is, so that we can put those numbers together.
The domino effect starts. We also need to contact Mrs. Belowski and find out what bus drivers are showing up for the party. It's one thing after the other here. And
I have spoken with her and Lou at many times.
I'm including all those folks, Mr. English. Everyone's on my radar for that.
And I do apologize because yes, the Vineland Board of Education did not approve the plan, and it's the end of July. We're late to the party. We should have been a lot earlier, period.
I think we're right on time like everybody else. Millville didn't approve it yet. They went out today. Bridgeton's working on theirs, and he just sent out an email to me today with their schedule. We're right where we're supposed to be, and it will not take long to turn this plan around.
And I have to be honest with you, Dr. Gucci, just because I did hear you say the board liked Washington Township's plan. The reason the board liked Washington Township's plan is because they were going to school 2 days a week, because you told me that Millville was united with Vineland, and it sure did not look like it from what I watched for 45 minutes and 38 seconds on YouTube.
They were united with Vineland until the other day, and I think I remember telling you that.
I know that, and again, that's the only reason that we like Millville's plan. My God, there are neighboring schools. We're supposed to be united as a county, and Vineland seems to be going to school the least. It just made no sense to me. We're supposed to be the lead dog here. We are the biggest school.
Bridgeton's only going 1 day a week as well. So we're not the only school in this situation.
After they watch this meeting, I'm sure they'll be changing as well.
It's up to them.
Well, frankly, I care about Vineland Public Schools and our 11,000 rough students. I don't really care what the rest of the county does, Scott, to be frank. I
So
don't,
let's go with the motion that Mr. DeSanto said, and he will forward that verbiage to Mr. Merkley tomorrow so he can get it into the record.
We
Is that
can't,
correct?
because I was mistaken. I was under the impression that Millville adopted their plan. They have not.
Okay,
No.
so
I'm hearing from the board, though, that they don't believe that a formal motion is necessary, that based on the consensus that Mary Gruccio observed, that she has enough information to proceed. Now, if the board wants to do a formal motion, I'll rewrite it because it wasn't adopted by Millville.
Okay.
What's the board's pleasure? You want a motion?
I trust that Mary got the message, I believe. So
Yes,
I'm
it
fine
sounds
with that.
All
I
right.
got the message an hour ago. I'm just not comfortable with a motion that says I must follow Millville. I will do 2 days, but I cannot promise you that based on our numbers, I can do Millville. I will do a 2-day plan and get it to you as soon as possible.
The reason, and I understand that you're away this week. So next week, I expect each committee to have emergency meetings set up so we have the answers to the questions that we have. So come the 1st of August, we have the most solid plan moving forward.
I haven't been away yet, but I am going away tomorrow.
I apologize. I totally get it. And I know it's heated, you and I, but
I respect all of your opinions. It's fine. I just don't want you to think that we didn't put hours and hours and hours of thought into this, or that we didn't involve parents and small committees, because we did. It's my job as superintendent to do the day-to-day operations, and that means developing this plan. And when I got the people that we needed at the table to give us the answers we needed based on health and safety, then I presented the plan to the large committee. And any input that I got from that committee, I have changed in the plan. So the plan will be the same, but I will change the 2-day piece.
This is the last thing I want to discuss about pretty much this is, while we received this on the 16th, there were many districts. I have family members. I have other boards that have called me that have met far before with the board knew the plan long before the middle of July. And I could have saved you a lot of legwork if I knew a lot more. That's all. And that was I'll take the blame because I'm the king of communication, and I should have been kicking your door down saying, this is what we're looking for. And I didn't. So I'll take, that's on me, but I can guarantee you I'll be kicking the door down every day. That's all I got.
we still have executive session, right?
Yes, sirree. So at this point, Mr. DeSanto, can I call for an adjournment? Dr. Gruccio, you understand where we're going?
Yes.
Dr. Rossi, going to be a
Yes.
busy day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
Right.
another day, Vineland.
That's,
Yeah,
no,
and,
that's-
and Scott, I've communicated with Dr. Rossi, and we are in the process of, we had a meeting scheduled and we have some conflicts. So we're going to reschedule that as early as possible.
That's fine. That's fine. And if, hey, I need 3 board members in there, and if we have to shuffle someone else in there, by all means, we will get that done. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone, board, central administration wise, and public wise, because this had substance, this special meeting, and at least the public's a little bit more aware of what's happening. And really, the ball's in their court. Are you opting out? Are you going to school? Are you not sure? So at this point, I'm going to call for an adjournment.
Mr. English, there'll be an adjournment of the public meeting and we'll retire into executive session. Mr. Merkley, is Mr. Musterell available?
He is. It's going to take me a little bit to transfer that over. So adjourn the meeting. I got to stop all the recordings. I got to kick everyone out because the meeting is still going on, and then I can transfer it over.
Okay. Mr. Musterell will preside or will conduct the Zoom for the executive session.
So how do we get back into it? Will we just be brought?
You're not leaving. You're
Don't
not
leave.
leaving.
Board
Okay.
members don't leave the meeting.
Yeah, don't mute yourself. Don't mute yourselves.
I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this public meeting so that we can go into executive session.
Do I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you and good night.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording in the YouTube session right now.